Are are we Gucci or not? Or not? Or not? Or not? Yeah, we are Gucci. Let's get a link for this thing and be on our way. For this thing and be on. Okay. Okay. New week, same math. Cool. Perfect. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, we need to get our levels. We need to get the new weekly levels and daily. The levels, the levels. Then we'll kind of get caught up. Then I gotta get something to eat because I'm hungry. Boy, I'm hungry. I went a little too hard on the diet this week. It's so noticeable. I've been feeling so dead. Lost a little too much weight this week. What is this? Actually, I guess just kind of recap where we got off, right? First and foremost. I ended up juicing, right? The long that we took, the first stream back, I ended up getting all 3 TPs hit. Now I'll kind of just leave the rest running for these higher levels. I'm probably gonna add a little if we start to go here. Realistically, probably gonna add and bring my stop up a bit. Yeah. And also, like, in terms of like if the potential short here at our last zone is a pretty 3 drivey, right? Ding ding ding. Kind of rolled over, didn't amount to much. So far, we kind of held yesterday's value. So far, everything is kind of mapping, right? How do the weekly and monthly how are those looking? Because the weekly was like a bullish engulfing candle almost. Yeah, it is now. Swept the low and came back, closed above the high. Still a long way to go though. Once it's particularly convincing, right? Like, I'm starting to see sentiment, people thinking like the low is in or whatnot. I don't not know. Levels. 61421. Five, 9, 4, 2, 3. Eight, 0, 5, 9. Hopefully all of our American friends had a nice safe holiday. Now we're back in it, right? All holidays done. Out here. Back on the ground, boy. 62371. Oh, 7-3. Let's clean up some of these charts, y'all. In terms of the game plan, what should we do right now? Things that we need to be doing. Probably look at some of the alts, right? Look at a few alts. Like, suppose we get like a decent correction. Might want to get in some more of those, aside from like Hype and Solana. Not too many though. I'm not trying to like dabble too much in alts these days, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll look at a couple of them. Go from there. What else? Yeah, how's this stuff doing? I don't think this works, right? Did you delete? Oh god. I mean, I would say we'll look at these, but like until like we're near the end of the morning session, not really much of a point. Understand. Yeah, we'll do that. Probably gonna be like the primary thing. Probably just watch some like Chart Fanatic video, right? Kind of get another one out the way. Most likely. Before any of this, though, we need to get some food. Where'd that thing go? What? What was that? Let's go do that first. Then we'll kind of yap about what's going on here. Then do the list, and then we'll kind of just wing it from there. I need to eat though. I'm so hungry. Oh, I'm hungry. Okay. 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 Before anything, real quick, let's just look at some of this data, yeah? Or anything else. Also turn my air conditioning on a little bit. Boom, 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 boom. Interesting. There's still like a huge cluster of open interest open. Interesting. Seven. We might be coming up to finish the zone, to be honest. So. That zone's looking pretty juicy right now. Interesting. Anyways. think that's basically it, right? Unless we look at this crap, which I'm not particularly interested in, to be honest. Maybe. Other alts. What's happened with this thing? Looking around, okay. I guess you probably look at like XRP in this, right? I don't know, it's... I think that would be most of the list, right? Maybe like Ondo. I definitely missed that. I need to figure out what's going on with this thing. I haven't like really been keeping up to date with everything ever since like the potential hack and the orchard pool stuff. But if people are gonna be trading it, then fuck it, right? BNB link. I don't know if I care to really be trading all this shit, to be honest. Especially given the fact that like we got in before they started running on some of them. Okay. Interesting. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with this, right? I mean, like, whatever. We've already talked about these levels on Discord, so don't need to rehash this too much. But like these next two zones, obviously quite interesting, right? Especially this one. Especially this one. Boom, 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 boom. How's the order book looking? What the fuck? 626. Yeah, we'll see about that. That's a 4,000 biddy up. Buy. What the? That's massive. How long has that been there for? Since we topped it, interesting. They got filled on part of that too. That is not a spoof. At least they didn't intend to. Oh, that was over 4,000 at one point. And they got hit for 500. And they've left it there ever since. Interesting. I don't give that too much thoughts. Interesting to note though. Okay, let's do one of these things first so I can just chill and kind of eat, because we don't really need to talk about this, right? At least for now. His upside's already been planned and prepared for. This is loud as hell. And to the downside. 6-0. 9.6. First and foremost, obviously, like, is it gonna hold the outside day and start going from here, or not? Or not? Not quite likely. We're gonna come at least between this low, the value low. After that, there's a bit of a pocket. Like, this should be like the next kind of main zone. This and like down here. Yeah. We'll kind of save that for the juice box later. Kind of leave this on for a bit. We'll find something to watch while we eat. And then we can nerd out on. Boom, 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 boom. Art. Natix. You know, also with that video that we watched the other day with that guy that was doing all like the low caps. I was reading that this guy apparently lost like 80% of his fucking account somewhat recently. Are we surprised? I guess that's a real question. Are we surprised given what we were talking about? I'm not. I am fucking not, I'll tell you that much. But what? We got a couple options. We watched a parabolic short video. Probably not.
Criteria, 2 models that you've used to do over $200,000 in profits.
Look at this move. If I captured this, you risk 15 points, you're making 60 plus. I'm done, 30 minutes. I made more than what I was making at my job.
This guy was an ICT trader and got no payout. Then he was introduced to order flow, and now he has over $2 million in prop firm payouts. Introducing Trader Yush.
This is what is a big part of my edge. I can see where value's forming and position myself according to that. This is a common misconception. A lot of traders average down. You should be averaging up, adding to a winning position when you get that confirmation. That's how you catch the big moves and you press on your winners. That's where you make real money. This is an aggressive entry. With aggressive entry, I'm always sized in much smaller because...
In this episode, he explains exactly what took him from inconsistent to a consistently profitable trader. What he believes is the route to profitability through prop firms and the exact mistakes that the ICT traders are making.
I don't think many people do this, and it's such a big edge. If you watch this every day, you see how their value's forming, you can position yourself. So if you come in the day, you know value formed here, and now value's forming higher. It means prices accepting value higher. Buyers are much stronger. That's how I look at it. Essentially, my whole trading strategy is kind of...
Not only this, he also trades the New York session live.
Let's go. What was that, like a 3-minute trade? We had zero drawdown in that trade. Everyone understand what I try to do there. I try to get a squeeze play, aggressive entry. Why?
All this and so much more in this episode on Chart Fanatics. Welcome back, everyone, to Chart Fanatics, the go-to channel for all of the very best strategy and concept breakdowns in the world, with some of the greatest traders in the world as well. Talking which today, we have a phenomenal prop firm trader. He's done $1.5 million in payouts, of which 196,000 of those payouts were just last month. This month he's on track to do, if I'm not mistaken, 60,000 plus. He's a phenomenal trader. He trades order flow, and today he's going to go through his exact system that has allowed him to achieve those results. It's the one and only Trader Yush.
Having me, Riz.
My absolute pleasure. I know we just did a words of wisdom, and I asked you a little bit about your strategy and was kind of like, well, what's the point? We might as well wait till here where we can visualize and then see chart examples as well. And there was a little challenge you said to me. You said, if we can get 4,000 likes on this video, then you're going to sit down and do a live trading session with us just like Fabio. And I think that'd be amazing. So make sure you smash the like button right now.
Exactly.
But where should we begin?
Yeah, so I want to start by talking about the tools that I use, like how I get my levels. So essentially, my whole trading strategy is kind of creating these support resistance zones based on the tools I will speak about, and then using order flow tools like Big Trades and Delta Profile, and using like the speed at the tape is moving for execution. So I want to start with that, where we talk about the tools that I'm using to get these support resistance zones.
Perfect.
So the four things I use that helps me define like support resistance. So number one is market generated levels. So let me fix this. So what is market generated levels? So those are levels generated like just based on market movement. So I'm using previous day high, previous day low, or sorry, and this is just RTH because I only trade New York session. And I'm using overnight high, overnight low, which is from 9 p.m. EST to 9:29 a.m. EST. So, and then I'm also using orb high and orb low. So the orb that I use is a 30-second orb, and that is from, it's like a concept from like Trading Pits days, when the 4 days. And I actually got
That's so aggressive. Holy shit. 30-second orb? That is hyper aggressive. God damn.
this from another ex-trader, Pax Trader. You know? Yeah. So when I was first starting out, I found this concept really interesting because they used it back in the day. So I threw it on my charts, and I really saw price respecting these levels when they got retested, and a lot of order flow transactions happening at those levels.
Got you.
So these levels, again, without just playing themselves, don't mean anything. I had to see reaction, and that's like where the confirmation real time, what happens, it will take place. But these are the levels I'm watching, market generated levels. Number 2 is the volume profile.
So what would RTH stand for?
Huh?
This one here.
RTH is regular session trading.
Okay.
Yeah. So the reason I put RTH there is because in TradingView they kind of filter it EXT, which is extended hours trading, and then RTH. But it's just like
It's regular trading hours, not some fucking mistake.
So the second tool that I use is volume profile, and what volume profile is essentially a lot of, when you start trading, you look at volume vertically based on the candlesticks, like based on whatever time frame you're looking at, the volume traded in that candle. What volume profile gives you is volume based on price at certain price levels. And how I use it is I look at the structure that we're forming for the day. So I'm using developing value, developing volume profile for the day for every. So that continuously changes, but you can position yourself. You can look at where the volume clusters are building, and you can kind of see, is market trending or is market in a balance stage. So how I dictate that. So let me actually use a different color for that. Can we erase that?
Of course.
So
Isn't it fascinating how none of these people, not a single one, uses TPOs? Is it not fascinating to you guys? Bunch of fucking noobs.
pink, go with pink. So what I use is I'm looking at where value areas are forming. So this is where 70% of the volume has transactions. And so when price is trading inside of value, that means both buyer and sellers.
A bit that statement a little. Some people interpret that very differently, because some people will consider value area just like a high volume node, right? And they'll say like this is like a high value or like a value area. This is a value area. But like the 70% like on screen is like here right now, right? So a bit careful of applying that 75 or 70% statement, but
it's like what I would call fair value. Both sides deem this area is fair value. And the second thing I'm looking at is low volume nodes. So when you have, what forms low volume nodes is when one side gets aggressive, so it leaves like volume pockets in between the value areas. So if you have a value area, like just draw a small picture. So if you have like a volume cluster like this is your value area high, this is your value area low, and then you get price just going up and down, and then you have this breakout. This part right here, I guess, you would have like a low volume pocket, and then new values forming. That means there were new buyers coming in, and they found that they wanted, there was more aggression, right? One side came in, they were marketing in, and there was not enough sellers to hold price lower. So create this low volume. And that tells me, usually when you have trending days, you see a lot of low volume nodes. So on these type of days, based on these two criteria, it kind of dictates what type of day it is and what type of setups I look for. So if it's a value, when it's a day where price is just trading inside of value areas, I'm looking to play the edges, like the value area high, value area low. Yeah. Not just in the middle, because it's chop. And then when days where you're seeing low volume nodes, I'm looking for pullbacks into the edge or into the low volume nodes to see if I see some order flow pattern where buyers, for example, on this setup, are buyers going to come in? So this is the edge of the new one. If they're coming down here, well, there'll be a better image.
On the chart.
Yeah. So if we come back into the low volume nodes, the buyers get aggressive, and does this become a higher low to send it back to new highs? Yeah. Right. So it gives me context of how the structure is developing for the day. Yeah. And I tell this to a lot of traders: you don't want to anticipate what's not happening. Don't guess what's happening in the markets. Just react to what's taking place and position yourself according to that. Yeah. Okay. So that's volume profile. Oh yeah. Okay. Number 3 is Big Trades
I mean, I
So
don't.
this is a indicator on so a lot of
Okay, yes. In general, that statement of like not trying to predict things, like, yeah, of course not, right? Mm. But at the same time, like if you are trying to get filled with like limits coming into the zone, you kind of are doing that in a sense, based on the data. That is the trade that you're taking, the risk that you're taking entering that trade.
platforms have this. A lot of order flow platforms have this indicator. I would say, I know right now TradingView, they don't really offer a good product to have tick data. So if you want to use big trades, use a platform that offers tick data. Because a lot of traders come to me, can I use this on TradingView? And they don't have tick data, and you don't get real like accurate values for big trades. So I wanted to really emphasize that.
Of course. What platforms, obviously not affiliated or plugs, but just in general, what platforms come to mind?
So really popular platform for order flow is Sierra Charts, but it's only for Windows.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only available for Windows. I use MotoWave because it's cross-platform. Like you can use it on Mac OS or Windows. And
MotoWave?
I'm an Apple fanatic. So I use MotoWave, but you can customize
Motive wave.
to show the same information. So what this does is it filters. I have a filter of 75 lots. So it will only show me where it will create like a volume bubble of where there's been transactions more than 75 lots.
Okay.
For ES or NQ, sorry. And then I'm using 200 lots for ES. And these are the only two products that I trade. And these are the standard ones I use. But when liquidity really, when the order book is very thin, like we had last, I would say happened was during the tariff, I have to adjust these values because liquidity is thin. You're not gonna see that many orders at once. It can happen, but it becomes more rare. So
you have to adjust.
I just adjust that to maybe like 50. So that's what I adjusted to back in April.
Okay.
And then I adjusted this to 100. But my standard is just 75 and 200.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's.
I'm curious if like the platform offers an option to kind of track like the daily historical volume, and then based on like how that is the volume is trending compared to that average, it'll like auto adjust the sizes of the bubbles for you. If not, be a cool feature that they add.
And number 4 is a delta profile. Okay. So what delta tells you is it gives you like a summary. So similar to the volume profile, it gives you a delta based on price. And what delta is, let me put this in there. So delta is transactions that happen on ask minus transactions on bid. I just didn't put transactions because we're running out of room.
Of course. Yeah.
So it gives you like a summary of like at that price, were there more orders at the ask or the bid? And if a buyer is aggressive, those orders are going to hit the ask.
Okay.
And if it's an aggressive seller, they're going to mark it in to hitting the bid, right? So when we go to the chart examples, you'll see like negative values or positive values. And so the things I look for is absorption. And I look for trapped buyers and sellers. So absorption is pretty much like, so consider like, so let's go back to the concept of support resistance. So you're coming into a support level and there's aggressive sellers. So a lot of orders coming on the bid, right? It's because that's sell side activity when you're entering a position at the bid, but price is not going anywhere. You're just stagnant. So there's a lot of orders coming. You're seeing a lot of negative delta at a price level. Price isn't going anywhere. So you're seeing a lot of absorption because there's a passive buyer there consuming all those orders on the bid. Right? So that's what I look for. That's a pattern I look for.
Yeah.
That's a order flow pattern I look for when it comes into a support resistance level, because that confirms that's a support or resistance level.
Understood. So you're ensuring that transactions and that bidding war, if you will.
Yeah.
And then so these 4 criteria and indicators, are you using them in conjunction with each other, like all 4 of them together, or do you have like where you just need 2 or just 3, or is this you need all 4 of these criteria to be met?
So I don't need all 4 criteria to be met. I need at least 2 to create it. So all 4 of these that we just discussed, they create what I call area of interest, like a support resistance zone.
Yeah.
So that's where the framework really starts. At least 2 of them. At least the 2 of the things they had to line up in an area, and that's what will create it. And then I'm just waiting. If price never comes back, guess what? I don't trade.
Yeah.
Right. And that's an important skill as well. Being really patient and just waiting for those high probability trades and waiting for that area to get tested. And there's nothing saying that these areas won't form higher or lower. Where you're going to see the same patterns happening higher or below the area you already marked out.
Yeah.
So those are the 4 tools that I use. Now we can go into the different models that I trade.
Trading education is completely broken.
I mean, I'm guessing he's going to be trading the typical shit everybody does, right? Like the D profile, P, B, and then the retraces into the low volume nodes based on what he's saying. I suspect.
And poisoned by bad actors, fake results, and strategies hidden behind paywalls. But in every
We'll see.
once in a while, it becomes a catalyst, a moment in time for change. Now imagine a world where elite trading education was entirely false. No station on the and your futures stock change.
By model 1. So this is the model I use when the markets are in a balanced range, aka people call it chop as well.
Yeah.
So when prices are stuck in a range, this is what I go to, and it kind of keeps trading like this kind of keeps me from trading in the middle, and that's where I think a lot of traders get trapped when they trade the middle of the range.
Yeah.
And it's just the risk parameters are skewed, and you can get chopped up so easily and bleed an account. So what I look for,
We
So
all know
let's
this,
say you're on a
right? So
volume-
we all understand this. Like if this is the profile, like you're trying to interact here and here. It's like the no touch zone, typically. The place with the least
profile like
edge,
this,
we'll
right?
say
So I'll
that.
say, this is your volume profile. This is the volume cluster you built, and your value area high. Oh, let me actually do a different color. So you have volume profile. That's your value area high. Let's put that, and then this is your value area low. This is actually perfect because in my charts, for some reason, I use like a pink line as well on my value areas.
Perfect then, yeah.
Sorry about that.
You
We're
really
talking about
drawn to
colors.
it, yeah.
We're talking about colors here in trading. So there's a clear value area, value area high on the chart, right? And you can see this where volume is really building out.
Mhm.
I'm not interested in the middle.
Okay.
I'm gonna wait to see price come up here and see how it reacts. If I see absorption, like we mentioned, or if I see aggressive buyers coming in here, but there's not much follow through,
Mhm.
this is an aggressive entry that you can take. So with aggressive entry, I'm always sized in much smaller.
Okay.
Because there's a higher chance I'm gonna be wrong here if I enter here, right?
Okay.
So I'm gonna have a tight stop. So I'm gonna know if I'm wrong quickly, right? So there's two different ways you can do it. This is aggressive entry, and if I really like the trade and I see a lot of absorption, what I would do is enter here, and then if it comes back down and it comes here, rejects, I would add here,
Okay.
average up. Right? This is a common misconception. A lot of traders average down. You should be averaging up,
Mhm.
adding to a
Towards-
winning position when you get that
exactly.
confirmation.
Mhm.
Right?
And that's the way you can start to really scale size
Yes,
and position.
It is. That's how you catch the big moves, and you press on your winners,
Mhm.
and that's where you make real money. Is what I say. Like, it's when you make the big money.
I like it, yeah.
So either you can add here this aggressive entry,
Mm.
or if you're already in, you can
That is a way to do it, but many other ways to go about the same effect. Yeah, like it is a good way to like scaling into positions like that. You can essentially just keep adding more and more size, but keep your risk fixed to like the small size that when you first entered, assuming you don't go break even. Who talks about that? What book was it? Oh. I think it was like Best Loser Wins. I think it was called, right? Yeah. That guy goes like quite in depth in that book about adding to winners.
average in and potentially move your stop here. This would be your break even, right? Break even point, and you're out for break even because you could be wrong here. Or this could be your first entry because now you have confirmation. You try to break out, potentially trapping buyers here, and what you target is the middle point as your first TP.
Yeah.
And then the end of the value area.
Understood.
Or what you could do is you look for another false break. You could sell into this break. That's what I like to do. I hate trading breakouts or breakdowns
Mhm.
because I just have horrible risk reward. I want to sell into these type of moves. The people that are getting aggressive, I want to sell it to them.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I understand.
So this would be my TP2. Now, what I would do is once TP1 hits, we're still trading chop, right? So immediately after this TP's hit, my stop would go break even.
Mhm.
Because in chop, it can come back and tap you out to your entry point.
Yeah.
I'd never let a trade that's working go red. Like if it stops me out and goes, whatever, there'll be more opportunities, more days, right? But that's one rule that I kind of live by. It's never let a trade go.
That's not true. You just said that he doesn't move his stop break even until TP gets hit. So what if a price came down like right there and then reversed? You're gonna get stopped on that for a loss. A bit unnecessary.
Of
Each
course.
to their own, though.
Let's say you take this entry, but this one hits a stop loss.
Yeah.
Then it comes down and retests here. Would you get in here?
Yeah, of course. It meets the criteria.
Yeah.
But it's all about how it reacts here, right? And we'll see from the examples what I typically want to see. Two things I want to see. If there's a lot of negative delta or big trades happening there, that could sign sellers are getting aggressive. They're not ready to push. Buyers are not as aggressive. So it could easily mean we come back into value, right? Or if buyers get aggressive, you see a lot of positive delta, but it's not going anywhere, and then it quickly gets slapped down. It's like you're seeing momentum, one candle straight down, back into value.
Mhm.
And you have to react so fast. That's why I tell it, like if you wait too long, you analyze too much, you end up missing that because it can happen so quickly.
Yeah.
True.
What time frame are you looking at this?
So I'm looking at it so NQ, I use the 2 minute,
Okay.
and for ES, I use the 3 minute. So I don't trade off just candlestick as in wait for the close. I just look at the structure on those time frames, like the higher lows, higher highs, and things like that.
Mhm.
So that is model one. So this is a model for range trading,
Okay.
and because not every day is a trending day, you gotta have models for different type of market environments. So this is the one that I use for range.
And by having that though, that allows you to still operate when the market conditions change.
Yes, exactly.
How important would you say that is though for longevity as a trader to make sure that you are operating in all market conditions?
So important because personally, I like to. I mean, there could be market conditions. There could be like a crazy bullish trend, and then you could be in chop for like 3-4 months. What are you gonna do? Not trade? Like if you're full time trading, that's your primary source. You can't just sit on your hands,
Mhm.
right? And I mean, I'm sure as a full-time trader, you love trading usually. It's like when you're a full-time trader, you love trading. You're not going to wait out that long if you like to just win trade.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to create a model for every environment and also adapt because the volatility also changes. The market is constantly changing. It never stays the same.
Mhm.
And that's what makes it such a fun game and also such a hard game.
Yeah.
Because you always have to adapt.
Scares a lot of people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I find it exciting. It's like a new puzzle that I'm solving.
I think you have to just frame it in your mind differently. If you
Yeah.
start framing it, like you said, as exciting and a puzzle
Yeah.
to complete or a challenge to overcome versus, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm wasting my time. That's what ends up happening. A lot of people start with that sort of dialogue, like I'm wasting my time on this strategy or that strategy, when in reality, you have to learn a strategy and you have to be open to tweaking it or changing it accordingly. And normally changes aren't drastic, right?
Yeah.
They're normally slight tweaks. It could be risk to rewards wise. It could be the expectation of, how big the stop might be, etc. Based on volatility. That alone is just, it's a change, but it's only a tiny change.
Right. Okay. And so we're going to go to the next model now. So this is a model 2 and this is a trend model, I would say. So again, a lot of my structure is based on volume profile, the developing volume profile for that day. And I'm only using the RTH profile. I forgot to mention that as well. I'm not looking at how the profile has been developing since Globex opened. Only the RTH, because that's where these are US indices. They're going to trade the most volume usually. Well, sometimes if there's news overnight, there might be some reaction overnight, but most times I'll pay attention to that if it is, but most nights you're not going to get that.
Gotcha.
So this is the profile. So if you get a trend profile like this, so you have value that establishes here, right? So this is your value area. Oh, let me kill here, right? And then, so you get up, you're just chopping, and then you get this breakout. And then you have cluster like this, like a really small cluster. Like this is what I call low volume, right?
Yeah.
And then you have a bigger cluster building out higher. What this is telling me is buyers were aggressive. So buyers clearly won here, and they're starting to accept prices higher.
Yeah.
So throughout, as the day goes on, this value area is going to shift. And I'm also watching that. That is, I don't think many people do this, and it's such a big edge. If you watch this every day, you see how value is forming. You can position yourself. So if you come in the day, you know value formed here, and now value forming higher. It means price is accepting value higher. Buyers are much stronger, right? That's how I look at it. So if you see value accepting here, and you're just ranging in this area, let's use a different color. So now you're just kind of consolidating. And so a lot of candlestick traders use, when they have like trend trading, they look at bull flags. Think about this as just flagging, right? You don't want to like a bull flag pattern, right? Just like consolidate. It's like compressing.
And then looking to
break out. So what I'm looking for is price to come down here into these low volume sides. And I want to see buyers get aggressive here. So I'm looking for big trades happening. A lot of sellers getting trapped. A lot of orders hitting the bid, and then price not going down. All of a sudden, you see a spike. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm learning.
So yeah, I mean, look, hey guys, Riz is gonna get a 100K payout after this video.
We're gonna have to make it happen.
So if you see that again, same thing. You can get aggressive with your entry, and then once it comes back in the range, this is like what I call look below and fail. You try to look below. Buyers came in, filled some of these low volume nodes. We come back into the range, and it's holding right here. This is could be your other entry, or you can enter here. Confirmation. Once you have the confirmation, enter here. This is aggressive entry. Put a tight stop, or when it comes back in the range, you enter here. This is the confirmation I look for new highs. And I'm selling into the new highs.
Similar to the last one, would you maybe take a small entry here, then here, or is that one where either you enter there or there?
So if it's a really high probability area where I'm seeing tons of like big trades coming in, a lot of absorption, I will enter here full size.
Okay. Would you ideally want as well to make it higher probability, the value area high to shift upwards as well?
Yes, but it doesn't always shift up because if it's been consolidating here for a long period of time, like multiple hours, there's a huge cluster built there.
Got you.
So it won't always pull back.
Hard for it to push.
And sometimes the one side is so aggressive, you don't get deep pullbacks.
Of course, yeah.
And
that's what you want, right?
That's what you want for a strong side, because when it's that aggressive, that's where a lot of people on the other side are getting. So for this, a lot of sellers are they're just constantly getting squeezed because they're trying to short the trend.
Exactly.
So it's not just new buyers coming in; it's also the short side getting squeezed, which is buy side activity. So you're getting double the fuel to go higher, and that's how a lot of like you see this in a lot of penny stocks, a lot of push shorting. That's what causes the fuel higher.
It's true. Yeah. And in this model, how are you looking to take profits then? So the last one was a bit easier because it's going from value area high, retest back to value area low. It's quite specific. A lot of previous price action that you can go off. Versus this one seems like you're going into not price discovery maybe in terms of previous day, but for that day you're going to a new price direction. So how are you basing targets?
As I mentioned, I'm always selling into the what do you call a breakout level, like at highs or highs or lows, right? In this case, I'm gonna take some off at highs because usually a lot of breakout traders will try to enter that. I'm gonna sell to them, right? Because I think this usually you can get filled easily. I can put a limit order. I'm gonna get filled because those breakout traders, or it could trigger a stop or a few higher. So there could be stops placed above that high, right?
So what do you think in terms of a risk to reward on this sort of play? Is it still where would that on average be, you think?
So if I'm going aggressively, I usually have a tight stop, right? Those are usually going to be like 3-4R. If I'm entering here, I'm usually targeting 2R.
Got you. Understood.
Yep.
And then that whole concept
I know,
of
like
the sellers.
Yeah.
Would there be a case where
like it feels like you're cutting yourself short doing that, right? I feel like that's just such a common thing I see, and it's like I don't. Like, how are you ever going to get a massive juicy trade if you're always taking massive profit or / closing the position at like such early fixed R? Like, look at this trade that we're in right now, right? Just think about this. Just think about this trade right now. This thing's like up to like 10R already. I mean, yes, we shaved along the way, so like it's not exactly 10R, but like we could have left it running if we wanted. The point is, we didn't just cut ourselves off at the knees and stop it down here, right? Like this thing might end up running like all the way up here. Fucking like 20R trade. Like if you're like super hyper aggressive with taking profit like that, like you're never gonna get this. And it seems like so many people do that. Like I don't get it. I don't get it.
Or have you noticed where once you tap that high and if price is able to break through, you then see a sort of real strong push to the upside?
That's a mixture of, again, a lot of people getting stopped out, right, and new buying coming in.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's another strategy where buyers do get aggressive, but I always trim at the high because that's where a lot of fake outs happen.
Gotcha. So is this the case? Would you close here entirely? Or would you trim and then
I would
if
trim.
that happens,
I would trim a little bit,
and then
especially
break even there?
trend. I wouldn't trim even half. I would trim, like, if I'm in 5 cons, I would trim 1 or 2.
Okay.
Because this is a trend day. I want
And
to
would you
capitalize.
break even?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you said, you don't let a winner turn into a red.
And then what I would do as it's going higher, I would look at how value establishing. Now, again, this how where's volume clusters building. I would hate, and what I would look at is in the structure as well. So I'm using the 2-minute. I do not want to see it form a lower high in this uptrend.
Okay.
And if that lower high forms like big trades, I'm out full. Like, because it's confirming that we could really pull back. I want to ride the wave as long as I can. And you got to remember, I have a scalping mentality. I don't want to be in a trade for a long time. I'm going to capitalize as much as I can in the short period of time. And that's my edge, because I only like to trade within the first few hours. Most of my trading day is done within like an hour.
Wow. Well, do you think that one issue traders
The
have?
thing is, like,
scalp, but then they
okay, I get what this guy is saying, but at the end of the day, like, first of all, okay, let's say he wants to trade in that first hour and then he's done. If you're leaving a runner, like, you're not sitting there babysitting it the whole time, right? Just leave it and go do whatever. So it doesn't require your attention. You're already in, you already break even, you already shaved, and that's it. And then the potential gains are way higher.
they turn it into a day trade.
Oh,
Or
100%.
in
Well,
futures, less so maybe a swing trade. but-
Sometimes that's one of the things personally I need to work on. Like, I leave a lot of profit on the table as a scalper. That's normal though, in my opinion, because you're in and out a lot. But some days I come back, I'm like, holy shit, that's still wow. That's crazy. This could have been a record day.
And the thing about the other thing about this too is, like, these trades are when they play out like this, it really like, this is what grows your account, right? When you get these like massive trades like that. It's like, think about how many, like, just imagine you went on a massive losing streak after. Think about how many losses one of these trades covers. And probability of you taking a massive loss streak like that is extremely low. So it's like your P&L curve's like, yeet. So, like, if you want to have these portions, you kind of have to do this, in my opinion.
It's been like that. There's been entries where I've caught a move 2 months ago. It was a day Trump tweeted about China tariffs. I was in, order flow showed a certain pattern. I was in 1,000+ point drop. I was in that trade.
But-
1,000 points, but I got out. I just saw it dump. I mean, it filled me. I had to limit it out. And I'm like,
Okay.
what is this? What is this move? Volatile. I was just going full out. So that is, like, look, I'm being fully transparent. I've had the success. That is the area where I think I can take my trading so, like, exponentially higher.
So what do you do in that scenario? Do you just start to dissect trades and where they ended up, and then see if there's a hedge there, like a reoccurring theme there, for you
Yeah.
to then make a rule set
So,
around?
I think with props, that's one of the reasons why trading
You know,
props.
the
is so
other
hard.
thing about this too is, like, you kind of have to be able to okay, look, no, we can never predict the future, right? We don't know what's gonna happen at the end of the day when we're looking at this. But you should have like a somewhat of an idea in mind of, like, what the possible moves are, and how realistic those possible, like, the probability of them actually playing out. Right? Because when we were taking this long, like, we had a pretty an inkling of us coming up quite high, right? For all the reasons that we talked about. Whereas, like, suppose that we got filled and then the reaction was looking quite weak, and it's already starting to have like a bunch of bear divs printing, blah blah blah. Like, all the shorts got squeezed out, and we're starting to, like, lose value down here again. At that point, yeah, like, cut the position or whatever, right? You kind of be looking at the data as you go and decide, like, how things are progressing. You can have, like, a bit more of an informed decision on if you want to stay in the trade or not. Like, shave more aggressively.
to hold those because you have limited drawdown. So that's something I'm creating, like a model with like a trailing model where I can hold on trades longer, but on a live account, like my personal futures
course,
account.
yeah.
With props, you have limited drawdowns. I prefer to like base hits and just stack up those wins, create the buffer versus letting a trade like go a certain way and come back.
Yeah.
Because it's all up for me with props. It's all about securing the payout.
Yeah.
How can I secure it? That's how I'm getting my money out, right?
Of course. So Model 2 finished?
Yeah, so those are the two models that I wanted to talk about, right? So trending and a balance. I think those are the two main markets, right? You're either gonna have a state where markets are in balance, choppy, or the trending.
So in this case, the Model 2 that we just went over, I guess a bearish scenario would be the exact same, just flipped.
Yeah, same for the other side when it comes to the other end for the
range as
balance.
well, Model 1, yeah. Cool, got you. So now we're going to go through chart examples showing actual trades that you just taken. And there's some elements where we're looking at real-time sort of documentation of the trade and then sort of a step-by-step process. So we're going to go through that now.
Futures traders, it's time to hear about Apex Trader Funding, the largest futures firm in the industry. Trader, no matter if you're a beginner or an advanced level trader, 20% off your yearly 20%.
There's two things. So one, the big trade indicator that you see on here. It is, so one of the settings it has is it's aggregated orders. So I'm using a 100 millisecond order and it's only available in real like live markets when you're watching it. And since I got some of these screenshots from Market Replay, you won't see some of the big trade bubbles that pop up, but I have the Discord screenshots that we'll refer to where you'll see what I'm talking about. So we'll go back and forth between what I'm showing here and the screenshots.
Okay. And these are trades that you've taken just last month?
These are all the trades that I took and documented live on Discord where, you know, traders made a lot of money, not just me. Riz, this could be you.
This could be me, yeah, which hopefully will be.
I mean, hey, get these likes up. We're gonna get Riz 100K payout next month with Alpha Futures and Apex.
Just Apex on TropNext. You get me in trouble. I realized I was wearing this, yeah. I'm fucked. You're gonna have to blur it out.
All right. Okay, so coming to the day, right? So this is your first candle you're seeing up here is the 930 open, right? You're seeing like I said, the pink lines, right? The dotted pink lines, the value area high, value area low right here. This is the volume cluster you built from this time frame you're seeing on this chart. And you see aggressive move down under overnight low. This is this dotted purple line you're seeing is overnight low. And
no, I don't get though, like the 30-second orb. Like, what does he use the 30-second orb for? If he's only trading the RTH charts, right? I mean, he never kind of circled back to that.
Happening, that's a liquidation. It's because it's a mixture of more selling coming in at a breakout level. Like we're breaking the range, the overnight range that we set with Globex. We're breaking that, and there's a lot of stops that got triggered. And do you see right here, low volume pocket? Right? Remember that model 2 that we talked about where the markets are trending? I want to look for a low volume area. So this is one, right? Low volume area. So you're not seeing it here because it happened in the live markets. Like I said, but this triggered a big trade. There was like around 300 lots. So if you go this screenshot, so this is what I posted on Discord. So this is the area I'm watching. This became a point of interest because of two things. You saw the low volume node, right? As we saw liquidation, what I would call, where you had a mixture of these selling coming in and stops getting triggered, buyers getting stopped. That's sell side activity. And you saw a big trade happen, 300 lots right there as we broke under overnight low. This is your overnight low. Sorry, it's a little hidden there on this screenshot. We saw selling here on the profile, right? A lot of negative delta coming in, and you had the low volume node. So two confirmations from the fourth that I mentioned, right? I look for at least two. So this becomes an area of interest. So now what I'm watching for is price to come back into that area and seeing how it reacts. This is a very aggressive downside. So if you can go back, right? So in this screenshot, this is very aggressive. You could be like, aren't you, or some traders could be like, aren't you chasing? But when selling or buying is this aggressive, you might not get a good risk reward where it comes back because one side is so aggressive. All you can do is manage your risk. So maybe you size down or you can have a tight stop. And that's where it also comes in, where we've talked a lot about in the other pod, is accepting what you're going to risk.
Yeah. I
know exactly what I'm going to risk. I'm going to position myself. I know that this is an aggressive trend. And from my back testing, when trend is this aggressive, you either have to wait hours for it to really slow down, but then you're not going to capture many points. Exactly. The day's done. The range is done. So some days you have to be really aggressive.
And what time frame is this again?
This is a 2-minute time frame.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So going back to the time frame, sorry, not time frame. So this chart, so this is what we got the idea why I'm watching, right? So the two confirmations. So now let's see what happened when we came back into that area. When we came back into the area, check this out. So that low volume pocket filled out. So this is your first reaction. This is from backtest, obviously. You'll see the real orders coming in once we go to the Discord screenshot. But look, we got first rejection. That's fine. But this right here is what really got my attention. Look at that negative delta. More selling coming in, big trades happening, overnight low. How many confirmations is that of the 4 that we talked about? So you have a level, market generated level, delta profile confirming that the seller's there, big trades. And then we also had a low volume pocket. Even though it looks slowed out, there was a low volume pocket. All 4. This is a A+ setup. All 4 criteria is met. Yeah. Right? So you enter around 660s or just below, put your stop right above overnight low.
Got you.
Right?
So I mean, this is the 2-minute time frame you said, right?
Yes. And what I will be targeting is one, I'll be looking at these lows right here, right? This is your structural low. So in this trend, right? So this is your low. Where you saw big trades coming in here. This is your higher low. You want this to break and really get aggressive underneath this value area low, or value shifted down.
Yeah, and then you want it to squeeze lower.
And then
your TP1 would be the higher low or the low?
So it would be value area low.
Okay, got you. Yeah. So that's
because if this breaks, it will be a quick move. These are only a few points apart. So if this low breaks here, it'll be a quick move to this overnight value area low. But then you want to see how this reacts here. Because then if you think about it, if it breaks here, this can become your higher low if it comes down, right? It doesn't have to. There's big trades happening there as well. Okay, so let's see how it moved. So look, this is some of my commentary, some more selling. I'm already in at this point, right? I'm documenting. Look, you're seeing tons of selling. Look at the big trades. There's a lot more you're seeing. This is real time. 250, those are 75 pockets, but the bigger one gets highlighted because that's way more.
Yeah.
But you're seeing tons of, these are all orders hitting the bid.
Yeah.
Tons of selling happening.
And it creates that negative delta.
Yeah. And look at this move. So I captured this
And it's squeezed all the way down.
all the way down. 15 points, right? You risk 15 points, you're making 60 plus. You're done. I'm done. After this, look, it's 10:03 a.m. I'm done, 30 minutes. I made more than what I was making my job.
Does it still blow your mind? But equally, we say that, and it's easy for us to kind of frame it in that way. It's
But
true.
It's
But
true.
your level of focus
Yeah.
and execution to pull that off, because that's why I asked about the time frame. Because if you look at this, from the moment it broke down, it's only until entry, it's
Yeah.
about 10 minutes. But during that 10 minutes, you're having to, and of course, repetitions and where you've gotten to now,
Yeah.
you trained your eyes and trained yourself to react faster, and,
Yeah.
and you created rules and systems. But regardless, still within 10 minutes, you're checking the delta, you're checking the area value area low, you're checking the volume profile, you're checking the big orders, and then from them, big trade, sorry, you're from them making a trade decision, entering stop loss, TP needs to be set. And no, don't get me wrong, it can sound like that's a lot, but it's not really, because it's for specific things that you look for day in, day out, and they have the rules for them,
True.
which is very important.
What I want to
But
say.
you're paid for your execution. is what I'm
Exactly,
getting at.
exactly. And that's just like an athlete, right? They have to really perform on the field, but they're practicing constantly. They're getting the headspace right. Because also athletes also have like cold streaks they go on, right? They're not doing
Yeah,
hot,
true, yeah.
and how that affects them mentally at times, right?
Just
This is
repetition,
video.
right? Like, sure, at first it might seem overwhelming to be learning all this shit and then having to like try to apply it in the moment. But like, when you do it enough times, you kind of just get into the habit. And you also know like what to be looking at when. Realistically, you don't need to be looking at everything at the exact same time.
If you're not trading well, it's going to mentally affect you. You got to really come in with nothing to worry, like having a clear mindset in the beginning of the day. And this happens so quickly, right? This rejection happened quick. It feels like slow because we're just talking about it after the fact. This is all hindsight, but I'm doing this real time. Like you can see all this real time. These are actual screenshots that you can verify. We can go to the props and be like, show the execution, show users executions, right? But this is so hard. You got to make your decisions so quickly, and you need to have the right mental headspace to be able to do that.
Do you know how much you would have made on this trade, as an example?
So I left a lot, again, 100 plus points. I sold 60, but I took this trade on a consistency, like a prop firm that had a consistency rule, so I was happy. I didn't want to make too much because then that means you got to have bigger days. Yeah. So this was with this trade.
That's so annoying. Like, this is why why would you want to trade in a prop firm when they have rules like that, right? It seems like so unnatural to like how people really trade.
Like, let me just lock it in, and I was happy. It went exactly how I planned, the TP and stop loss wise.
Gotcha.
So it worked my plan. It just, as I said,
You have
I'm
to
a scalper,
adjust.
yeah, and that's something I had to adjust. But with prop firms, I'm happy just following my plan and getting out where my plan's TP.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that is example one.
We have plenty more for you.
This thing's about to break the highs. Can I keep an eye on that? I'm gonna follow through with the plan we discussed earlier. Let me get some water though, real quick. To refill this bitch.
Yeah.
So this is the second trade I took. So this is an afternoon session. Look, I don't usually trade the afternoon session, but my headspace was good, and I saw really interesting activity. So we just saw Model 2, right? One we documented. Now on the same day, we're going to show Model 1 happening, but on ES. It's a different instrument, but the same concept applies, right? The transaction values might be different because ES is it trades more like per tick, like the orders on the book, right? And also it's like what 7,000 now compared to like 26,000 NQ. All right, so what I want to do first, so we're gonna go to a Discord screenshot. So this is me talking about Discord community, but what I want to really highlight here is, so this is on the DOM. So I also use the DOM to execute. So what I'm watching on the DOM, we didn't really speak about this, but it's not, you don't necessarily need the DOM, but I look at the speed of how it's moving. Because when it comes into an area, I don't want to like short or go long, because I'm usually trading retest, right? In a way, if you think about it, when it's a trend and then I'm trading the retest, I don't want to short into momentum. If it's uptrend momentum, I want to wait for it to slow down. So in the DOM, you can actually see the speed it's moving, and I don't want to get in front of that. It's like I'm getting in front of a moving train. No, we're not gonna. No, right? So I'm watching that, right? And then I'm looking. So in this screenshot, these are delta values. This is your session delta though. Like the whole, so when I use the delta profile, it resets every 30-minute intervals.
Okay.
So it gives me like idea of what's happening in that range every 30 minutes.
Okay.
So this is on the DOM though, I'm using the full session, like the delta for the whole session. So you see tons of positive delta here, right? Like 800, 500, 700, 1,829, 900, right? And this is the transactions that have happened on the ask and bid, and that's a summary that you get.
Okay, the difference between
yeah.
But they're all positive. So
they're all positive, right? But price isn't going anywhere. This is near highs, by the way.
Yeah.
So and price is just stuck there. So what does that tell me? There's a passive seller there observing the orders, right? So I'm watching that level, and you can kind of see from the candlesticks. So this is the candlestick, right? We've spoken about this is what's happened since 10 a.m. and I'm looking at this around 1.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, look how many times. Look, I have arrows here. Absorption. Constantly. There's a lot of built up delta there, right? And look at, so this is where the market opened on ES.
Yeah.
930. So price is kind of forming value above that opening price, but it's just consolidating. So now coming back to Model 1, what I'm looking for is price to have a false breakout higher to go short. The market is clear in a range, but it can also break out because it's been consolidating. So if I'm looking for a breakout trade, what's the Model 2 say? We let it break out, it creates a low volume pocket, and we try to enter in those low volume pockets, right? If it's a false breakout, it'll look above, and there will be a lot of buying coming in, and then shortly after, there'll be absorption.
Yeah.
Correct? So let's see what happened. So buyers came in, but this is, when you've been consolidating like this, it should be much stronger.
Yeah.
It should be way stronger. It should be, you should see a complete squeeze. But look at this. So we look above, we swept overnight high.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times you see a lot of reversals happening overnight high. This is just me saying, this is your overnight high right here.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of reversals tend to happen at overnight highs, and a lot of traps, I should say, happen. A lot of aggressive buyers and sellers get trapped at those highs and lows. But we looked above and we came back, and we're starting to see a big offer coming into the market. As
Massive
you can see,
offer, right?
Massive, 744 lots.
Oh, 700. I thought it said 1,700. I was like,
No,
this is crazy. There's a candlestick.
That can also happen. It can happen. Yes, you see 1,000 plus lots, but you're seeing tons
Still
of
700.
yeah.
Not.
So huge offer, huge positive delta built there.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm already thinking, okay, we shouldn't be pulling back like this. This is not significant low volume nodes. This is a what I would call a selling tail.
Okay, yeah.
So so usually when you look at a profile, it usually likes to trap at highs and lows. When you look at the end of the profile,
So like highlighting up here,
yeah,
the lack of volume is indicating that tail.
yeah, exactly, right. So can it come back and still hold here? Yeah, it could be a small breakout retest. I'm not going to enter here. I'm still watching the 65s because that is where the absorption happened. That's where buyers
All
try.
of that, okay.
Yeah, right.
So do you essentially want it to break below retest?
Yes. So I want to see it break below and see how it acts once it tests the 65. Now here, when there's a big offer coming in, and if we fall below, this can get big. Well, think about it. This is a buy.
Yeah.
I don't know the intent of this order. It could be a seller getting out. It could be a new buyer coming in.
Okay, yeah.
Right? So I don't know the intent of that order, but what I know is if it comes below 65, this is a buyer. He's gonna start to feel that pressure if it goes lower. So that's what creates a liquidation down.
Yeah.
Let's take a break for a minute there, guys, because I want to tell you about our incredible sponsor in the CFD prop firm space, the one, the persons, the professional, for all in. Use the codes as we get the episode.
Okay. So
Nothing particularly interesting so far in this video, right? Kind of what we anticipated when we first started watching it. Kind of just a typical profile trader.
have that and watch this. So tons of positive delta there. We come a little
Nothing unique, we'll
But
say
is it-
that.
here so we can see it better. So tons of positive delta. What?
Just remember to, whenever pointing at anything on the screen, use this.
Okay,
They
sorry.
wouldn't be able to see it.
All right, sorry.
No, I'm just saying.
All right, so we saw tons of positive delta coming in. Look at all that. It looks up and quickly goes below. Look how aggressive. This is again, a 3-minute chart. Quickly, we come back up, reject, back in the range.
Yeah.
Model 1. We looked above. Not enough. There was a strong buying initially, and then look how quickly the selling started coming in. That's how you trap buyers.
Yep.
And look, we have the move that transpired here. So that, again, my Discord community knows this is one of the setups I look for. Textbook short. Look how quickly you run right. This is the midpoint of the range, and that is the bottom part of the range.
Area value.
So you
So
essentially,
where would you execute from?
I would look to get right here at 65. I might get a little bit worse entry around like 63.
So around here?
Yeah.
And then stop loss just above the
just
candle.
above that close.
Okay.
That's a market generated level we forgot to mention.
Is
But again, you're also seeing that. Remember I mentioned how market really reacts at those market generated levels where you see a lot of order flow happening?
Interesting.
Right, that one happened right at previous day close. This is the previous day close.
Got you. So it's just above there, and then targeting, would it be here?
First target is the midpoint.
Okay.
And based on how it reacts, I would move my stop break even. I'll be targeting the bottom portion of this zone.
Understood.
Yeah. So this was an insane day.
Mhm.
Insane day.
You're 2 in 1 day.
2 in 1 day. So, but remember what I told you, around said on the round table and in the pod, I'm only trading 2 or 3 times because I can just find these setups. I don't need to trade middle of this. I'm just waiting. This is all just chop. I don't want to get involved in this.
Of course, yeah.
But if I just wait for those 3 models that we're talking about here, traders, like this is how you get payouts. I'm telling you, just be patient, learn, and look, take what we're learning here and test it.
Mhm.
That's what I'd say. Don't trade the same way I'm testing it. Take what you're learning here and create your own twist around it. Create your own confirmation behind it, and maybe you'll find something.
Yeah.
But I'm trading the same way every day, Riz, for years now.
I love
This is how I've kind of refined it to make it simple, and I feel like I'm explaining it like
I think
very
it's
simple.
very simple, yeah.
So
And I think the interesting thing is, because you've been trading this way for years, that's the one thing that you do notice with order flow traders so far anyway, myself from doing chart fanatics in particular with them, is that they all have traded the same concepts for years. Like I say concepts, the same strategy and methodology for years, because it's all based around what's actually going on behind the candlesticks.
Yeah.
Rather than when it's patterns, people will still trade similarly, but they will have to adapt or change things. Probably because they lack that understanding. Everyone is different for sure. Because I'm sure there's people who might look at this and go, "Oh, it's too that might be complex to them." But I understand how it's simplified down, especially with the way that you've done it.
yeah,
You have, as you say, 4 key things that you look for. As
Yeah.
long as you have 2 of them, that's a valid entry. But the more you stack up, like in this case,
comes A plus setup.
there you go.
And it goes back to when we talked about in the Wisdom podcast is I can really see what's happening behind the candles. Like really, like okay, if it doesn't hold here, I can see like short buyers getting trapped.
Yeah.
They all make sense because you're seeing big orders happen. And look what happened. You trap them here, and look at the smooth move down.
Yeah.
That's why as a scalper, this is what I want: quick moves. Normally in ES, if you're on when this is near all-time highs at this time, the ES was at all-time highs. You're only getting like 1 or 2 times where you get full rotation RTH. This I just caught that in a span of like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this particular day, 1 trade on ES and Q. I think I made around 6K. I'm gonna make you understand
I'm ready.
absorption,
Mhm.
and you're gonna go. And you're gonna go, and if you ever see absorption pattern like this, you're gonna be like, I'm putting my house on it. I'm joking. Don't never do that, chat. But okay. So in this day, this was non-farm payroll. This is
Okay.
pre-market, by
Okay.
the way.
Mhm.
And I don't trade pre-market or overnight, but when there's news like CPI or non-farm payroll, you tend to see big moves happen. That's when more liquidity comes in, reacting to the news, right?
Of course, yeah.
So I pay attention to big trades happening then. In this particular day, let me go here. So we're breaking out to a new area. We discover new price discovery from overnight. So you see, I've highlighted here
Sure.
the low volume pocket.
Yeah.
This is overnight. Now let's zoom in here. So you have this range, the volume cluster that you're building here. You see the volume cluster model 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Because, and look at the delta you're seeing here at this zone that I've drawn. Tons of delta. Keep an eye on this. Right? So I'm watching this real time on this day. I'm like, well, this is pre-market. This is outlier delta. You never see this much volume, even on non-farm payroll when it's coming out. This is tons of bids coming in, but price is not moving.
Mhm.
Like I mentioned, right? Absorption. There's a lot of sellers coming in, or a lot of orders hitting the bid, but
Yeah.
price is just stuck. Just from looking at a candle, you're not seeing the size, right? But I'm here. This is an outlier size for pre-market, right? So this really got my attention. So when I see something like this, there's 2 ways you can capitalize on it. When you see this much, this is what you can also call an iceberg.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to put a sell stop right here to go aggressive because this can actually liquidate down.
Okay.
But since I was looking at this trend and there's low volume nodes here, I was like, can they defend, right? Model 2. So what I was looking for is price to come down and really lack follow through on the downside
Okay.
and come back in the range.
Okay.
So that confirmation, this is what I was looking for. Because if this really falls, I don't want to get aggressive with that. It could really
Really
go.
come down, yeah.
So I wanted to see it come down and come reclaim that zone
So reclaim here.
and see what happens. We're gonna go there. But you can see the absorption, right? Like
Yeah,
a lot of
with the delta, the lack of movement.
yeah. So check this out. So we're gonna really zoom in. So we broke under, we created the wick. This is a lack of follow through to me.
Yeah. And,
And look at that delta. Look at that delta. If you didn't see it, now you got to see it. Now it's negative 700 negative delta. We broke under. So some more selling came in, but price is not going down.
Mhm.
So some new buying came in.
Yep.
Right. So this is where I would enter. I would put a stop just below this wick low.
Yep.
Right. Because if this wick gets hit, I think it's gonna flush. Right.
In this case, are you just targeting that high?
I'm just targeting the high because there's 2 things. There's value area high overnight. Well, this is, I guess we're still trading overnight, so I'm just targeting that high.
Mhm.
And then also on non-farm payroll numbers, you can also see a next leg higher. So this could just be a flag, and we could see a next leg higher. So I would sell at the high and I would trail it, just like we
Mhm.
spoke about. Get in here. Look at the squeeze.
Yep.
Look at again negative 700. If you didn't know absorption, now you saw it.
I see it, yeah. Yeah, the low volume.
Look at the
nodes.
low volume node. If you come back, look in the low volume node. Look at the cluster build out. You're out at the highs.
Yep.
40 points, risking 15.
Yep.
Overnight, you're done. You're done your day even before the market opens. Now, there's another setup that happened. Remember this level. This is what creates support and resistance. The absorption, the trap buyers and sellers, that's what creates these support and resistance levels.
Mhm.
So remember this level, 790.
Yep.
Right? So now that you get this move, do you want to really enter here? What's your risk parameter? I want to sell into that, right?
Mhm.
But look what ends up happening. This is what I would have wanted to see.
Just-
Flush.
Mhm.
So we made new highs, trap buyers, come back. This is what, if it wasn't absorption, quick flush like that. The whole not from pyramid, retraced.
yeah.
Those low volume nodes don't matter now. That is just trapped. I think buyers are just trapped above here now, especially if you entered above these highs.
Of course, yeah.
Okay?
I mean, typical kind of like
Now what I mentioned earlier.
NFP,
support
CPI,
resistance,
PPI price
now
action,
this support
right?
resistance, we got a
Baco.
Here's the order flow pattern, right?
Yep.
Now you'll see that confirmed in the next screenshot. So you're not seeing anything there right now, right? But real time, there's a huge big trade that happened right here. So what do we get? We opened here. We had this huge move down. We opened straight up. And then look at this cluster we're building out. When I see a cluster like this, and we get a wick up like that with positive delta, and we also have an area pre-market where there was strong absorption, there's a lot of buyers trapped in that wick. You see how price is going up, but they're keeping them trapped.
Yep.
And then what happens? They get liquidated. They get stopped out.
So in this scenario, is that something you would trade, or was just
So I did trade this.
Okay.
So I traded these highs right here, and my stop was up here. Wider stop, but I was looking for a full retracement down to value area, or I was looking for lows actually. I was so confident. I mean, I didn't get full TP. I got trailed down on this, but I still ended up making, I think, 1.7R on this trade. So I got my first TP, which is right in this value, right at close. The value area was around there when I was looking at it here, and I was looking for a bigger move to lows because I'm like, oh my god, we had this activity, clear support that turned into resistance, and we're seeing more sellers coming in. So confirmed support turned into resistance. So I want to show you this. So this is a Discord screenshot. Real time happening. Look at that. That's real time big trades happening there. I already know the pattern. You got low volume nodes, right? And then we had a lot of negative delta built up there. And then that created that liquidation. It really liquidated down there, and it came back and confirmed it for me that that is a support resistance level. That support now is resistance because big trades are happening there. So this, I would consider this as A+ setup. But as I mentioned in the pod, sometimes your A+ setup, you won't get your full TP, and that's okay.
Yeah.
As long as you execute right your playbook and your plan, I think that's a win.
Definitely.
So that was an example of exertion. I think I
Fair,
taught you
fair,
a little bit
fair.
of how to see exertion on candlestick.
Very fair.
No, I have a much deeper understanding now. Like for me, I don't use order flow. I
Who was it
trading
said that? But it was quite like an interesting way to like look at trading. I've it written down somewhere. But like basically, they're saying like that you should judge yourself as a trader, like not by the wins or losses, about your ability to adhere to your plan.
But I need to. However, even just the concepts of what order flow shows, so from absorption to the volume profile to the delta, big trades in particular, even without using order flow, having that understanding and trying to frame onto the market the candlesticks themselves, you can get a better judgment and understanding and make better judgment calls. Like I've had a lot more trades just from the squeeze aspect, right? When I know that, hey, this price level is resisting, which automatically I assume there's obviously big orders there defending price number one, but then there's two people trying to break through and they're not. So if I've got in a trade, let's say that's here, and I've got in a trade down here now, that makes sense to my system, and I'm swing trading in this case, but let's say here, I know rather than setting my TP at this high, I'm going to say an extra X wherever I feel is justified, because I know once we break that, when it's time to break that, we're going to squeeze. And it happens every time.
Exactly.
I'm not joking, honestly, it happens so often without fail.
And that's when you asked me that question in our other pod is why did you get it from ICT? This is why. Like I can get real confirmation because I can see the orders happening real, and I think that's as real time as a real retail trader we can get.
Yeah.
Because you're seeing the move before the candle is closed. You're seeing the reason why maybe the wick is created. There's something significant behind it, as I've shown, right? This is a prime example of why a support resistance level forms.
Out of interest, is there a reason why you go for like the 2 and 3 minute time frames? Because I know a lot of order flow guys use minute or even seconds at times.
I think there's a lot of noise, and that's I think 2 minute and 3 minute has.
People are quite chaotic with the speed of the candles and the bubbles and everything.
Exactly.
Got you.
And I mean, I used to use the 1 minute for both, and it was just I was looking at noise. I felt like, and this has really helped me filter it. Look, and I'm using candlesticks just on the structure. Yeah. Like the lower high, higher lows, because it helps me trail my stops.
Yeah, 100%. It proves that point of like you can learn something, but you have to make it your own. Yeah. Just because everyone else might do, not everyone, but like just because some people might show a time frame or a way of doing something or no candles, let's say, doesn't mean that's the way to do it. You got to figure out where your calmness and clarity and focus can come from, and that comes from developing your own rules and systems. And they're all tiny tweaks. It's not you haven't changed what absorption means or like the tools that you're using. All you've done is gone, okay, these are the time frames that allow me to see clarity. Using the candlestick allows me to better manage for me personally. That make the biggest difference.
Yeah, and when I started with order flow, it wasn't this simplified. This is what I've done over the years, really refining the system of how I can see things that are important. And because you have to simplify it or you're going to take your time, as we spoke about. Like you got to make a decision as quick, especially as a scalper, right? And before I started, I was using Bookmap or Footprint. I don't even use any of that now because the summary on the delta tells me like those are orders on the time the sales going through. Those are not passive. I don't care about a passive buyer seller. Delta profile will tell me if there's a passive buyer seller because the price will react based on it. It'll probably pause it somewhere. So so this was an example of absorption. Well, let's go to a different day. For this particular day, you're gonna see example of model 1 range bound market. And so this is very early on, so you can see where I found this level, what time. So we had so I'm showing this because this is real time big trade.
I'm so curious for the 30-second orb. I've never seen anyone fucking trade a 30-second orb. I don't know if he ever mentions it.
Remember I said the zone requires at least 2 confirmations, right?
Yeah.
So there's a big trades happening, but then we come back up, and this Riz was so quick. We come up and we wick really quick. There was buying happening, so you look up, and then within a second, straight down. So that tells me that the buyers there got trapped. There is overnight, sorry, not overnight, opening range low there as well. So market generally level, big trades, buyers trap there. 2 criteria, right?
Yep.
Not an A+ setup, but you'll see why this becomes an A+ setup very soon as we go.
I like that.
Okay, so that's what got my interest.
Mhm.
And that's one of the most common questions I get on Twitter or X and Discord is how do you get point of interest? And I think this video kind of explains. People think I have some magic formula. I see the same thing every time. I'm like, I'm just using these 4 criteria to get these levels.
They don't believe you.
They don't believe it. They're like, there has to be something else. It's really not, guys. I promise. So look at what happened, right? So this is one thing I talked about earlier is never getting in front of, when it hits your level, you don't want to get in front of a moving train. So this is from backtesting data, right? You don't see the big trade here, but as I showed, right, this is where this area formed. There was another big buyer buying order that got trapped here.
Yeah.
So we got to move up. Look at this move up, right? On this big wick, I want you to notice a few things. Where did it reject? Overnight high.
Yep.
30-second order high. Look at this delta right here.
Yep.
Look at this outlier.
Mhm.
Tons of buying traffic.
Oh, is
And
that
look at
what
how
these
we're
are? Is that what this
above the zones
is?
that we marked,
Mhm.
right? So there's also big
Ah,
Tail as well.
I see.
Yes. tail.
See,
Exactly.
I'm learning. See?
Yes, you learned it. Yes, yes. So there was also a big offer that happened here, which you'll see from the screenshot that I
we
showed
had
from real
before,
time. Yeah. So just keep in mind, right? Look at what happens. I position myself here. I have a wider stop here
Mm.
because of the range is really wide. So I'm trading micros in this case.
So is the stop above the high or is it above
Value
the
area,
base?
value area high.
Okay.
Because if I know if this gets reclaimed, this can quickly fill that wick
Mhm.
and squeeze higher,
Got you.
right? But I'm targeting lows.
Mhm.
And so we get this drop, right? So this happened in a matter of 6 minutes. Because I know there's buying trapped.
Yeah.
And if there's trap buying or selling, they're going to cause max pain. The other side is going to cause max
Yeah.
pain and stop them out. They'll try their best to stop them out. And that is one of the behaviors of NQ. It loves to trap. It loves to trap.
Would you describe like order flows essentially as the closest to the pitch you're ever going to get in modern times? Because the whole premise of the trading pits was that the order flow was all in the room. You could see the emotion. And people would use that information from what they're seeing to then trade accordingly, run price up to hit max pain on those people over there, run the price back down.
Yeah.
It seems like the general premise of order flow
Yeah.
is this is the closest to the pitch you're going to get now because it's the same psychology, it's the same premise
Yeah.
of what you're looking for and executing upon.
No, exactly. Like this is as real time as you can get as a retail trader.
Mhm.
And that's why I love it because I can see that I have to observe that information really quickly. And again, coming back to the mental, I have to be ready, like the right amount of sleep. No, like I'm not anxious or anything. I have to be in the right headspace.
Yeah.
If I'm not in the right headspace, I can't execute.
Mhm.
It's gonna be delayed in a way,
Of
right?
course.
So that's why I'm not worried about how much I'm gonna make. And as you're seeing, like I'm just trading the setups in front of me based on the models we described, and it just happens every day.
Yeah.
Right. It's just a pattern that happens every day. I'm being genuinely honest. This market's just this pattern, and especially in NQ, it loves to trap, as I mentioned. It loves to trap buyers and sellers, and that's why I don't trade breakouts. When I started out, that's how I lost the most money trading breakouts. NQ.
Really?
Yeah. So we know there's buying trap right here.
Yeah.
And what's gonna cause a max gain?
A bit. Yeah, that's a problem with kind of statements like that on these videos. If someone that's new to trading is watching it, right? Because like trading a breakout on the 2-minute chart on the Nasdaq is very different than trading a breakout on like an individual asset that's been consolidating for like weeks, right? Like, well, this lower time frame thing obviously not gonna be nearly as high probability as the other or as strong of a move. Because like breakouts can definitely be like a viable strategy, just textual.
When it starts to make towards value area low and sweep the lows.
Mhm.
I think that's again highs and lows are where a lot of stops are triggered and
Yeah,
we
they
spoke
are,
about.
yeah. Mhm.
Right? So we got this move, but I want to show you this, right?
We're gonna have to go
This is real
back
time.
to look at these orbs
Huge
real
trade,
quick,
yeah.
just out of
That's what
curiosity.
fueled the huge squeeze up to new highs, to overnight highs. This trade, 350 lot. That's a big order.
Yeah.
And where are the big trades happening? You know, there's a 250 here, just around 200, as I showed in the first screenshot over there, and 349 here. And we just came back, and price is struggling to go above it now,
Mhm.
keeping the buyers trapped.
Yep.
The ones who chased, you lost. I'm sorry.
And you can see that negative delta
Look at
all
that
the way
on
down.
this move down. Look at this negative delta stepping in.
Mhm.
Right? All in a span of 10 minutes. That's what you get. 50 points.
Mhm.
But you just have to stay patient.
Yeah.
And as I spoke about earlier, is never go against the momentum. Even if it comes in your area, it's like I don't have the urge to trade, right? If you have the urge to trade, if you're just waiting, you're just gonna. I don't just enter. There's got to be criteria.
Mhm.
When it squeezed up like that, there was no criteria. It just went straight up.
Yeah.
Why am I gonna enter? I'm going against a moving train. I see a lot of traders doing that, and that's how you lose so much money.
Of course.
And that just causes a tilt because you're like, how did this happen? I had all this. My backtesting said this should work, and it didn't work. But you didn't wait for that confirmation.
Yep.
Right. All right. Now, so we made that move. We come back up. Where are the big trades happening? So again, look at the delta.
Mhm.
More buying trapped. Now I want you to notice one thing. You see where the value area high is
Yep,
right now.
up
So
to
this is developing value where the cluster is budding out. Value area low, value area high. Watch. Keep an eye out from all the screenshots we have how that moves up and down
Mhm.
because that's always changing. And this is where from watching the markets, this is what is a big part of my edge. I can see where values forming and position myself according to that.
Mhm.
And I'm knowing if the price trades X amount in this range, the value is just going to shift up or below. Because that's what dictates the market, right? Value. Is value forming higher or lower in the range? If it's in just a stagnant spot in the middle of in like the middle of yesterday's range, for example,
Yeah.
it's gonna create a very choppy environment.
Of course.
That doesn't mean I can't trade. I just have to be patient and wait for the edges.
Yep. go from value area high back to the mean
Yeah.
or to the low and
Yeah.
vice versa.
Exactly. So again,
Big Teflon 1. What am I watching? This channel called Chart Fanatics. Basically, they just like interview traders about like their trading strategies. There's like a bunch of different videos on here. So I kind of just try to watch them all for the sake of maybe someone's doing something I don't know about or haven't seen, or kind of just they use some data or something that inspires me to track it myself or do something similar. Most of the time ends up being kind of a bit of a waste. Starting to know like what everything they're talking about, but you know, that one nugget you find every once in a while is worth it. Say that.
given the screenshot is
Sale on TradingView at the moment. I mean, I already pay whatever the full year subscription on auto renew. Plus, like, it's the same sale over and over, isn't it? Like whether you get like the Independence Day sale or the Black Friday sale or like whatever sale, it's always just the same thing, is it not?
as we mentioned, huge selling, buying coming in, trapped, right?
The ultimate for
So even then, you
80%
got that move
off.
back to the value area low.
Yes.
So look at what happened in the screenshot. Remember what I told you about value area high? It was up here.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me go here.
Adjusted all
Up
the way
here.
down, yeah.
So that value shifted down,
Mhm.
right? And look at where selling came in, buying came in into that. Where did it come? It's not random, right?
Yeah.
I always tell this in my Discord community. It can't be random. It's just happening constantly. And where big trades are happening. So as it's rejecting more and more, you're seeing big transactions happening. So it's becoming like an A+ setup for me now. Because you're really starting to see value shift lower.
Yeah.
And this buying, this tail that you're seeing,
Up
look at
top,
the,
yeah.
yeah, trapped. It's causing so much pain to those aggressive buyers. Is how I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. So what do you do in terms of your next trade after this information?
So I would be I'm scalping this move. So I'm shorting every time it comes back.
okay, so
I'm
you short
I've
here.
shorted here. Oh sorry, I shorted here.
Yeah.
I shorted back here. And I'm just taking it to the mid and the other side of value.
Understood.
Again, same thing, big trades. And I'll show you how much I made on this day.
I'll look at it
insane.
after.
This was a day where
I don't know which one I
This is
have.
January 15th. So I made
I might already have
6K
that
across
one.
5 accounts. I get an 80% split across those. So that's a 24K payout. This day put me over 100K in payouts. 15 day into January. So you've seen this, right?
Yep.
So it just keeps rejecting. And the market's telling me it's in a state of balance, and the big trades and how it's reacting at the value area high is confirming that for me. So I'm just gonna keep trading that until I get stopped out. Then maybe the market, like, that's another reason. I'm not scared to lose.
Mhm.
If I lose, okay, that's cool. I can wait for the next setup,
Mhm.
or I can call it and come back tomorrow.
Mhm.
And that goes back to, again, I keep saying it, accepting what you're gonna risk coming
course.
into the day.
Of course.
All right, there, this.
Mm.
Remember, model 1 value comes back up. We have momentum, stalls,
Fail,
look
yeah.
above and fail, failed breakouts. So I'm not gonna get aggressive here. I'm gonna look, come back, it wicks off it above. You see, right? Oh, let me. See the
We'll
wicks
leave that
here,
written
comes back
down
again,
and go
wicks,
look at it
right back
after.
down.
In that last trade there, where would your stop be? Above the high overall?
So
This high here?
it would not be above that high. I would risk
Just
nine
above the last
920s.
candle.
So I would still do 15 points. At this point, I have a huge buffer. I don't.
Thing
wanna
is, I don't
risk
even
going
care
to my,
honestly
profits.
about like deal, no deal. Either way, it's like
So I would still do static. And if I,
a
if I'm wrong,
business
I'm done for
write-off.
the day,
Of course, yeah.
right? Because I have taken.
But the
big
more
trades. I don't
expensive it
know
is, the
if I take big
better.
Trades. I value
This
my
was just too easy, clear. The market just
but
kept setting it up.
this day it was just happening over and over, and you're seeing Model 1 play out over and over, and you're seeing confirmation. And here you're getting that false breakout. There's positive delta coming in, and then it just stalls out and comes back in. It's
3
rejecting that
hours
value
left
area
is
high
letting
again.
you know.
And I think this is where we really broke and made new lows.
Yeah, thank you. No, I'll look at it for sure. The thing is, I just don't know which version I have. And if that's even like available to everybody, like maybe it's just like a US residents only or something like that. But yeah, I'll definitely look at it before I go to bed. I left it open over here. I messaged it to myself out of curiosity.
Yeah, so look, I share everything on my trade execution and everything. So as you see, right back into the value area low, and then look, 6K across the 5 accounts, 100K a month.
Wow.
And this was on the 15th. So 15 days in, well, not even first 2 days. It's like no
trading.
it's no trading. So I guess I would say 13 days in, 100K.
Incredible, man.
Trading those. So those are the two models that
Two
utilize two models over and over again.
All
Every single day.
criteria creates two
Yeah.
models.
It's that simple. It's
Like
just
I hate
that
when
one
they do
part-
this, right? Like no one fucking cares. No one cares how much you made, whatever, right? It's irrelevant. This game is like some scaling game, and it's all like variable based. Like, is there a difference if you made $1,000 in a month in the same trades? No, it doesn't
thing
change
I would
strategy
say
at
strategy
all.
work on is entry, like the confirmation.
Yeah.
I would say confirmation is built on confidence. So you got to keep doing something over time. And that's how you build that confidence. But you got to create your
True.
own model.
Yeah.
I can show you how I trade, how I structure my trades, but that confirmation you had to build, because that confidence is the big thing. Are you
gotta
confident?
you got to be confident in that execution. And so you have to develop it. So it might end up being the exact same.
Yeah.
Right. But there's going to be nuances always.
Yeah. So that's why in my Discord, I give the levels, and what I'm watching, I can't just tell everyone how I'm like where I'm. I show them where I'm entering. I can't just. I'm hyper focused on my screen executing because that's how I make money, right?
Of course,
Trading.
yeah.
So I'm not gonna give them my exact. Like I'm not gonna waste my time. But this is where I'm entering my stop loss.
By the time
Right?
you've done that, it's
That's
done.
for them to figure out. That's you got to figure out the confirmation part. You can see the areas.
Well, for
you
you to
line
do
it
that,
up.
though, you either missed the trade or even by the time you sent it, there's no,
Exactly.
it's not useful to them anyway.
Exactly. But what I do is I give them an area to watch, and then
Yeah.
they can go back and reverse engineer it. Go back and backtest and see. Oh, why was he watching that? Ayush, why are you watching that?
And so can all of you right now.
Yeah.
You know, you can go
True.
back
Hey,
and
look.
backtest these trades.
What
You
do
have
you
all the
say?
Yeah,
dates.
that's how we use
Look at the
Discord,
box,
right?
right?
Like, yeah, I sit here talking about the levels in Discord, where I'm not like sitting here in the moment saying like, entering now. No point, right? And fucking busy doing my own shit. I'm time to sit here and write out an essay about why I'm taking the trade, etc. In the very exact minute.
400k likes, 4,000 likes.
Teach
By
them
now,
how to
4,000
fish.
likes are there. So who knows? We might have gotten a live trading section added into this episode because there might be 4,000 likes already. If not, we'll sit down and do one in the future. But man, I really appreciate you breaking this all down for us, showing us and opening our eyes to order flow, especially giving as again 4 criteria, 2 models that you've used to do just even last month over $200,000 in profits, net 195, 196
Yeah.
in
194.
payouts, which is incredible. Why do I keep getting wrong? 194,000 net payouts, which is incredible in just last month.
What's up, Chart Fanatics users? So I want to take you guys through some live trading in my process coming into the day. So it's just over 9 o'clock a.m. EST, about 20 minutes until New York session.
I don't believe anyone on Chart Fanatics. Grifter Central. I don't know about that. I mean, I don't think any of these people are like elite level traders. At least from what I recall. Let's just kind of look through who's been on here. Like some are better than others. Like this Fabio's definitely seems like a trading nerd, right? Because not only does this guy scalp, but he dabbles in everything else too. And like relatively knowledgeable in a lot of those things. Whereas most of the other people just kind of trade their 1 or 2 strategies and they're not particularly knowledgeable. But I wouldn't say that they're like grifters. Day trading is not that hard, right? Like most of the people on here have just honed in on one strategy and just do it over and over and over. And like you don't have to be like the smartest, giga brain trader to be doing that.
Session open, which is a session I trade. So one of the things I like to do is prepare myself, look at the larger time frame areas where we're trading, the structure of the larger time frame.
But yeah,
so,
in my experience and like based on people I've met, like it's pretty rare you see like there's a lot of traders out there, right? Like the social media is the tip of the iceberg. And most people that are elite are not on social media.
Coming into today, so yesterday overnight, we had news that Trump announced that the U.S. is going to ceasefire in the war between U.S. and Iran. We had a huge gap up. We kind of gapped up. We pulled back a little and just kind of chopped in a range. So looking at coming to the weekly profile, today's Thursday, time of recording this. So we have this huge gap up still left on the RTH profile. So what I'm watching today is this 25,900 level to see how we react there. That is your RTH level, your support or your value area low, right? Where before we have this huge gap up where there's no volume traded in RTH. And then coming into the overnight profile, this will make it even more clear. Look at the low volume nodes you have here. And then obviously with RTH profile, there's like very no volume traded there, right? So this is a really important area for buyers to defend if they want to sustain value higher like they have been doing yesterday and overnight. Again, really important. So this is where order flow really comes in useful because we can kind of use the information, orders coming in, how large, who's aggressive, are we seeing potential traps to make judgments and take trades. So 2 scenarios I'm going to be watching, right? So when we break under, I do not like to take breakouts. So I want to, if it breaks out, I want to see us retest and make a lower high to get in short, or we could see a potential model 1 setup, right? Where we have this range, this larger.
I don't know. The other thing about this too is like, a lot of these people are trading the same systems. Like, sure, some might have some different variation to it, but they're more or less all doing the same thing. Like for instance, like all these profile traders are all doing the same thing, and even to an extent, I'm doing something similar as well. But that's like part of the reason why it works, because everyone's doing the same thing.
Like this, or maybe let's go a deeper liquidation down outside of the range, and then we reclaim it, and where we just do something like this. Hold up, something like this where we hold. I'm looking to enter around as close to as possible as this area to potentially take it to the other side of the value area, right? Or target at least 40-50 points, risking 20. That's what I've been risking right now in this market. Another area, so if that scenario does not play out at the time I'm trading, because I only like to trade the first hour, 2 hours, is let's see. I want to see how markets react to the previous day value area high, which is like right here, 25,135, and see if we can hold above, or if maybe look into new areas, new weekly highs, or do we reject there, look above and fail back into the range. So those are the scenarios I'm watching on NQ to open. Let's see how it plays out. I'm excited to do this. Let's make some money today. All right, what's up, guys? We're almost an hour into the session, still stuck in that range that I mentioned pre-market. So I'm just still waiting for those pivots to get tested, but we do have some market structure to go off now, just under an hour into the session. So you look at ES, we kind of have this volume cluster built between 18s and 10s. We are trying to break underneath. But let's see what happens. I'm looking for a look below and fail here, potentially, or a retest short. I'm watching this 10, 12 area right now as we are about to test it. So and I'm looking for a setup here. So let's see what we can get. I want to see it reclaim, test this. So we have 10s, right? I want to see 11s and 12s is where we have that delta cluster built, where we have big trades there as well. So I want to see it come up a little higher and see how it reacts.
I'm surprised though. Like if people are going to like, you know, my question would be, if people consider these people grifters, then what about like the real grifters, right? Because there are some for real grifters out here. Yeah, some of the stuff I see on Twitter and like, and even on YouTube with like TJR and whatnot, mind blowing. Who's the other guy I saw the other day? What was his name? Alex FX or something, or and like Mamba FX. Like there's just so many. It's crazy. It's crazy. The trading space is filled with predators.
In on short 5 ES at 0950s. Let's see what we can get. Hold up, I can look, guys. My orders aren't showing. Hold up. So this is my entry right here on short 5. Let's see. I'm looking for lows. I'm gonna risk 13s. All right, trying to push. If this rejects again, I may adding to this position. I'm not at 5 more cons if we come up to 12 and reject. Okay, I'm risking 13. I'm gonna watch the reaction at lows. I want to see a strong liquidation when breaking lows. So I'm gonna trap some more buying here. There we go. All right, come on. No correction. Okay, a little order to get out here. Go force. All right, guys. Let's go. Quick scalp. We had about, I think, like a 1.
Yeah, I don't think we need to really watch this, right?
I got 2-3 hours. I'm not a big fan of this action. We've just been grinding lower slowly. But again, to quickly explain the context behind that trade. So, as I mentioned, I was watching those lows pre-market. The large
We wanted to go back and look at the orbs real quick. I mean, from what I've gathered, based on what he said here about this stuff, I think he just uses it as I said a little earlier. It's a confluence for areas of interest. I don't think he's actually trading like the orb the way people traditionally trade orbs. Interesting nonetheless. Not the most insightful of videos, but also oh, I'm so stupid. I just fucking realized that I did not even have the fucking thing open. Oh my gosh. I just switched to my OBS and I realized I never had the video on. No wonder fucking... Oh my gosh. That is funny. Oh my gosh. Well, we'll kind of show the video just in case. For anyone that was curious. What video was it? This one. That is funny. Whole time too. I never turned it on. That's crazy. Anyways. Question is, do we kind of plow through another one? Or no? No. Is there a short one? How about that? Probably this, right? This or this. A bit longer. This is an Italian girl, right?
We did a phenomenal episode.
Or we'll give this one a plow through. I'll actually leave it on this time. Before anything, though. Never in there breaking the highs yet. Bum, 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 bum.
Already over 300,000 views, and the comments have been demanding that we see a Chart Fanatics episode with this phenomenal guest.
This is the basis of every chart. To me, when I see charts, this is all I see over and over. And if you focus on this, that concept of follow the trend, it becomes easier and you can actually kind of see it. Now, what usually happens is
After achieving a high of 320% in the Futures World Trading Championships, the world's second best futures trader reveals her exact strategy.
it is going to blow your mind that this is so simple and looks so stupid, yet it can almost nail the bottom, like exactly. And I use the Bollinger Bands to help me kind of realize how close we are to reality.
What time frame would you say this is based on?
So you can do this on any time frame, but I will say I like it better on the
Marcy Silfrain goes step by step through her exact process that allows her to identify market tops and market bottoms.
This is how I judge if a trend is intact. If it keeps forming these little rizzies and it keeps going down and it keeps hitting these points downwards, this happens over and over and over. And I believe it is the basis for all of the charts. What happens is
Not only does Marcy share her exact strategy that allowed her to achieve world-class results, she also gives 2 major predictions on this very episode using her strategy. This is an episode you cannot afford to miss.
I think this is what's going to take over as the next Berkshire Hathaway in our generation. And if you invested in Berkshire Hathaway in the beginning, you would have made like 5 million%. Now, what I see when I look at this is
Welcome everyone back to Chart Fanatics, the go-to channel for all of the very best
Talking
strategy and
about
concept
Spal?
breakdowns in the world with some of the greatest traders in the world as well. Talking of which, we did a phenomenal episode, only came out a couple weeks ago actually, already over 300,000 views, and the comments have been demanding that we see a Chart Fanatics episode with this phenomenal guest. Placed second last year in the World Championships of Futures Trading. You already know who it is, the one and only Marcy Silfrain.
hello, I'm glad to be here.
It's an absolute pleasure. I know we've kind of dragged you back in the studio so in short notice, I guess.
Listen, I have tried to fight off everyone because everyone wants me to teach trading. And you actually initially asked me to come on Chart Fanatics and I turned you down and I was like, I can't do that. And then my messages online all day are like, teach trading, teach trading. I'm like, I can't. And on Words of Wisdom, what did I say?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not a good teacher. Here we are, eating your
You
words,
managed it.
teaching. So I'm just saying, like, you guys have been fair warned, you know. You get what you get here.
But what you said though before we started is today we're going to go through the concept you use to
Yes.
predict the market bottoms.
Yes.
And you've done that already, you know, through examples that might be on screen right now or shown before in the trailer of 2 occasions in particular. We did that too, one on the day and one like a day before.
Yes.
We have chart examples later of predictions that you have for Bitcoin and another chart
Yes.
in particular, but we're going to start here on the white.
I must be mega faded. I cannot believe that thing was like that the whole like that the whole time. It really was too. God damn. We're gonna blame the cut on
Well,
that
first, I want
one.
to say I have sort of a philosophy on charts and markets, and that I think that all these different tools we use to buy and sell and enter trades, I think they're all telling us the same thing. Whether you're doing order flow for your entries, or you're doing Fibonacci retracements, or you're doing trend lines. Like I watched the video you have with Fabio, and then I watched the one with Tori Trades. And the way I look at it is they're doing the same thing, even though they're very different. And one is a little bit more complicated, you could say. In my mind, and the way I approach charts, we're all doing the same thing, which is we're trying to figure out the ratio of buyers and sellers at any given time. We just all do it a little bit differently. So this is very much sort of a dumb it down, easy, simple way to ask yourself, like, which way is the trend going? When could it possibly bottom? And I find it's very useful to find the bottoms during market crashes. And this is what I use to predict bottoms and market crashes. And like I said, I was able to use it in 2025. I called it to the day on X. And in 2022, I had posted it on Instagram. I had predicted it like 2 weeks prior. And I predicted it in QQQ. I was using QQQ to chart back then. And I was off by $1.
Here's the thing, right? Is like at the end of the day, these kind of statements are just like irrelevant. No one cares. Like you could have been wrong just as easily as you were right.
In QQQ. And it's very simple. It's something I feel like elementary school students could do. And I think it's a reminder that sometimes we overcomplicate things in life and in trading.
Especially in trading.
Yeah.
Well, that's the key word that we love to hear here. Simple.
Yeah.
I'm sure the audience
True.
feels the exact same way.
True.
And it's going to be super interesting, especially given the markets this month. We're recording this at the end of January, the last day of January. So hopefully we'll see what the coming months have in store for us. And I'm excited because I think, especially with the chart section we do later, by the time this comes out, we might have actually seen where this is, where those charts have gone to as well.
Yeah. And I will say when I draw it, I'm going to be drawing it sort of like in a downtrend, but you have to also remember the inverse pattern works
Is exactly
in an
the other way.
uptrend. Yeah. And I mean, we can try to do some uptrend ones. I think it's just the easier concept to get in a downtrend. And remember, when you
I'm
ask
curious
yourself,
what kind
you
of
know,
trader this is. Like, I'm pretty sure I've seen her on X before. But I'm not familiar at all with her trading styles. Curious if she's a swing trader, scalper, whatever, all of the above.
why is this pattern so simple and so powerful? What it really is in my view, is it's based on Fibonacci and all the retracements, and it's just kind
Go
of
to the math.
seeing all the retracements at once without actually drawing them. Okay, that's where I would think in my head where it came from. But so it is.
She uses the fibs. Okay.
Did I just? Is my
I'm already fucking with that.
Okay, we're gonna get some red candles. Oh, we're going down. We're going down big. Get a doji. Okay, let's do one more big one. Oh, they're getting killed here. I hope you were short. I hope you went short. Okay, now we all see this over and over. And then look what happens. Have you ever seen a candle like that? Don't you feel like Silver had one of these?
Yeah,
the other
exactly. I
day?
was about to say,
This
yeah.
might be Silver.
There'll be some traumatized people.
We're making it dramatic so I don't have to draw 20 on the way down. Okay. So what happens here? Let me add a few over here too, just so we have this like How are my candle skills?
No, they're great. Most people just draw lines. So
No.
the audience will appreciate the effort.
Okay. Let's pretend this candle is not here, okay? And all we have is the price data up until this point, okay? What you want to do is you want to come in and draw a trend line, right? Right here, down. And what you will find, there's a name for this, okay? I have self-taught myself on trading. So a lot of these like specific names and everything, I don't even know what they are. So truly, I don't know what you would call this. But, I was thinking to myself, there's a trader whose name we shall not say. Isn't he known for renaming patterns?
Oh, yeah.
And so we're going to rename this. And I was thinking we're going to name it after your kids. So we're going to call this pattern a Little Rizzy. Okay? So from now on, this is known as a Little Rizzy. So whatever, they're going to leave me comments and say, hey, it's called this. I don't care. It's called Little Rizzy.
I'll back you up.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
You'll back me up, right? So what this is right here is a Little Rizzy. Okay? And the way that I look at this, and you will see this over and over in the charts, if you find the low on the candle that had the lowest low in this pattern, and you measure from right here to the top of the trend line, so you want to go directly up this same candle, right?
Okay.
To right here. And you measure the price distance. Let's say this is $20. What you will find is the next move down will be this distance. So like this would even continue further down.
Gotcha.
And this happens over and over.
A
and
measured
over.
move.
And I believe it is the basis for all of the charts. And what happens is when you're trying
An
to
interesting way to go
identify a
about
trend,
it.
you're going to see these keep forming. So I would view this as a new Little Rizzy that forms, okay? Draw a trend line from here to here. Technically, I would have wanted this one to come a little bit lower. Let's just say it came down here, okay?
Yep.
And what you're going to do is, this is how I judge if a trend is intact. If it keeps forming these little rizzies and it keeps going down and it keeps hitting these points downwards. And what you will find is I like to add like Bollinger Bands to it too. So for people that don't that aren't like familiar
This
with
already
Bollinger
seems a
Bands,
little suspicious. We'll say that, right? Like, okay, let's just follow her logic and assume that this is what she's doing. So she measures this and then sees if it works, and she measures it again and sees if it continues lower. To like what? Confirm the trend is happening, I suppose. In which case, like, you're already super fucking late to the move. So a little odd. It's so odd, we'll say that.
I'm gonna like, let's just okay, we're gonna pretend these are our Bollinger Bands.
But we'll keep watching.
For people that aren't familiar with Bollinger Bands, because I know kind of the new traders these days don't use them. Again, we're gonna like dumb it down here. I like to call it reality. Okay, so the middle line is like reality to me. If it's trading near the middle line, the price is like in reality. If it's up here, it's it's getting out of reality. If it trades above here, you're out of reality. So if you're out of reality, what happens? You have to come back down into it. So same thing here. If the price is trading near the bottom line, you're getting close to out of reality. When you come down here, like you're just out, you're gone. You're out of reality. At some point, mean reversion or coming back to reality has to take place. So when I use these little rizzies, I like when the first one happens towards the top of the Bollinger Bollinger Band, like up here or above reality when it's going down.
Yeah. So for the flip side, it would just be.
Also curious,
Right.
like, what
So
kind of
it would
Bollinger Band she's talking about. Like, she's in the standard one, or what? A lot of people use like different versions.
Forming these, and you will find it. And when I pull up the charts and I want to go through 1929, we're going to go through 2000, we're going to go through 2008, we're going to go through 2022, we're going to go through 2020, we're going to go through 2025. It is going to blow your mind that this is so simple and looks so stupid, yet it can almost nail the bottom, like exactly. It freaks me out still, like how accurate it is and easy to understand. But I mean, if you're looking at this, you can kind of tell this is kind of like you can kind of see, you're familiar with retracements. Like, like you can kind of see it's really a Fibonacci retracement. So that's where the power in it is coming from. But they will just continue on. And as I was saying before, I really like when they're towards, if it's going downwards, I really like when it's towards the top of the Bollinger Band or the middle. And as the trend is fading, eventually it's going to start forming one towards the bottom that's not going to finish. But what usually happens is,
so as you were mentioning, you mark out the bottom of that
the
particular,
lowest, whatever candle has the lowest
and
low.
it's above there where you're trying to measure.
Where,
so,
yeah, you draw the trend line and you take the exact point in the trend
so
line
it'll be the
on
measurement
that
from here
candle.
to here. And so in this example, we said $20, let's say.
Right.
So then what you would be expecting is a $20 move below this area.
Below the low.
Based on that.
Yes.
Perfect. So for this example, I know it was already drawn on, but in this case, taking that same principle, would it be from this low to this high then?
No. Well, we're going to pretend this one came down lower.
Oh, just one more candle, yeah.
We're going to pretend this is another little rizzy that just formed.
Oh, I got you. So you
This
get
is
the
the low.
lowest point.
The lowest point.
Gotcha.
Now, sometimes the lowest point is the first candle.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the last.
So this one might have gapped down and then.
Right. So we have to look at it and we'll go over some charts, but you would measure it and then you would measure this distance and that's how much it would go
Extension next
down. And so that's, and when it gets in these patterns, it keeps falling. That's how I like to gauge, okay, which way is the trend going? Now, on the flip side, if you start getting closes above this trend line, Lil Rizzy broke.
Yeah.
Not your friend anymore. Well, they're always our friends, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It broke. So it's not always going to work, but that would be your cue for, hey, this is not working. And I do tend to notice the first one or two that form on like a downtrend work the best. The fourth one, the fifth one, the market's getting tired now and it's ready for a bounce.
So once we start to get more out of reality towards those edges, those ranges are going to get smaller and start to fade away.
Right. And I use the Bollinger Bands to help me kind of realize how close we are to reality, how far out of reality we are.
What time frame would you say this is based on?
So you can do this on any time frame, but I will say I like it better on the longer time frames. This is how I do think with trading.
What's her definition of longer?
It's really important to establish a overall trend for the market. Like, like the daily SPX is an uptrend. So this is something that I would use for that. But there are times where I see these little rizzies on like a 5-minute chart, a 10-minute chart, a 30-minute chart, and I'll take it. And my cue is when we start dropping, right? We never go straight down. There's always a bounce, right? We start dropping, I sit, I wait for the bounce. And when the bounce comes, I see if it's forming a trend line down, right? And if it does, then I'm like, we might be forming a little rizzy. And so I might go short here.
Yeah.
And what I would be playing is, this $20 below here, and that would be my exit point for a profit, or my stop would be maybe somewhere up here where that trend line was broken if we go to close up here.
To establish the trend line, do you wait for price to start to come down first and then you mark it out?
So to establish a trend line, I wait for the initial drop and the bounce. And from there, I just start trying to draw a trend line. And it's not always going to be right. You could come early, right? You could have came here. See, the thing is, you want to ask yourself, this is what I would say. When the chart is has its initial drop. It's up here out of reality in the Bollinger Band, and it has its initial drop, and you're waiting for the bounce.
Trading education is completely broken. For years, the industry
Kind that you had an idea where, in actuality, hopefully you'll have a few candles up here that you could kind of get an idea where a trend line might be, and then when it starts to bounce, if you had this idea that you had these candles here and this was your trend line, you would say, hey, this one hasn't reached it yet.
Yeah.
No, not yesterday. On Thursday on X, I actually applied this on a 5-minute chart, and I tweeted it on purpose so we could talk about it here too if we have time. And it was the same thing. It was a little rizzy, and I told everyone, the market, watch out, it's going to turn here. And then it did start to turn, and then I set a price that I thought it was going to run to, and it was all based on this, and it ended up doing it, and it hit the price, and it's so simple. But you really have to, and we'll do it when we pull out the charts. You really have to look at the charts, and you have to kind of train yourself to see them over and over and realize they're constantly repeating. And I think we've all just learned so many complicated ways to trading. Sometimes you got to kind of step back. And I think that's kind of what this is. So it might be hard for some people, but I think for new traders, they would love this.
Yeah.
And again, for identifying entry points and crashes, it is so accurate, it's crazy.
That's the beauty, because obviously you can use it from a trading perspective, but then equally from just a long-term investing perspective, it can help two ways, whether you're looking to get good buys, right? Or just being able to hold your long-term portfolio without too much stress, knowing that, okay, on average, this is the sort of area and benchmark we should be looking at for the pullback to start to slow down or stop and turn around.
Yeah.
In terms of your Bollinger Bands, do you have any particular settings that you use for that?
I just use the 2 standard deviation.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I think most of them default to that.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I don't extend them, but they are really helpful in kind of determining if the price is in reality or not.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Like, how people use the RSI, for example.
Yeah.
Overbought, oversold. Obviously, the Bollinger Bands are similar in nature, but are working off the price itself rather than, say, a sentiment gauge. It's working off, as you say, the range. So the 2 standard deviations, as you said, is just expanding that range out. So once you go beyond that, the upper limit, lower limit, then like you say, it's out of reality at that point. So like silver, for example, and gold would have been way out of reality when they started to turn. But then, that's a lot of people, I think, were not arguing, but loads of people were trying to time the short because they knew it was getting out of reality. And other people would try to kind of put them down of it's bullish. Why are you fighting the trend and taking these losses? Because some of them are taking losses on the way up and they were getting a bit frustrated. But then a lot of people had career high trades because they stuck it out and realized, look, we are out of reality regardless. So the short is going to happen. And when it does, once you're seeing mass greed or mass fear, but mass greed in that case, that short, when it does happen, is going to be very aggressive. And look what happened. It was crazy aggressive.
Crazy.
And, it's probably not going to be the end. I'm sure there'll be a lot more volatility when it comes to those pairs. But it's a great example because I'm sure, no doubt, a lot of them probably were using, whether it's the exact same tools, but as you said.
Yeah, but this guy should probably be described as a bit better. Yes. Is it the end of the world if you're shorting silver on the way up and taking small paper cuts? Not really. But if you're entering here and you're just oh, it's gonna come down, it's gonna come down, it's gonna come down. There's a pretty realistic world where you get fucking wrecked, right? Before the drop actually comes. Depending on how you sized it, etc. So yeah, you don't want to be doing that. They take your paper cut and get out, and then try again later, or nothing. You should probably the best approach.
Of what we're trying to derive anyway, regardless of your strategy.
Because the other thing about that too is let's say you try shorting it around this region, and you're just sitting in this trade the whole time, convinced that it's coming back down. It can go higher and higher and higher and higher and higher, and then eventually you do get the drop, and it still doesn't come back to where you are. And it just does this. So not the ideal way to be playing that.
Same principles we're trying to extract. Where are, as you said, the ratio of buyers or sellers?
Yeah.
And I can see perfectly, clearly of why this would work and how you're deriving that information from what you've covered so far.
Okay, we're going to show one on the way up. So my sound effects. This is a mixed candle bar. You know what I mean? Okay.
Why not just show a chart instead of drawings all by hand?
Let's just say that blah blah blah. Guys, don't judge me on my bars, okay? All right. This would be a little rizzy I would consider on going on an uptrend. So it went down. I brutalized these. Okay, whatever. what I would do here is measure the distance from here to here. And this would tell me, hey, this thing went down. Then we got a little bounce. It pulled back a little bit. And the height it's going to go on the next move is from the high to the point on the trend line. And that's where you're going to find the next move goes to.
Exactly. So we'll take it from here down.
Yes.
And then essentially that would be the same to here.
Yes.
Which then when you're looking at it, is it a case where you're saying, okay, from here, this price movement makes sense to reach the upper sort of Bollinger Band in this case?
Yeah.
And
You
okay,
could.
this makes sense
Yeah.
for me to be able to hold. Is it a case, let's say if that was larger and it's showing you that it'll probably get up here. When it comes to say managing your trade, especially I imagine in a long perspective, or maybe a short one might make more sense, but would you then say, okay, once we're starting to reach the upper band, that's where I'll start to scale out? Or,
No.
No?
If the Lil Rizzy, right, had the distance, let's say the high was here and let's say the trend line was here, right?
Okay.
And let's say it brought us
Much
the
bigger,
next
yeah.
move, I would play the whole move,
Okay.
even if it brought me out of reality, because they're that powerful that they usually tend to finish. And again, they're really just based on Fibonacci retracements. And I mean, you can look at these moves from like an order flow perspective. If someone pulled that up, they'd probably say that there would be like short orders, a bunch of people, and they coming in here trying to go short, and they would want to come in and play this move, or people coming in here in order flow trying to buy upwards. So it's all the same thing. I think this is just a different way of looking at it that can be really easy for new traders. A lot of times some of the other versions, it can just be overwhelming. I really understand how to read charts very well. People send me their charts all the time, and sometimes I'm just like,
What's on this?
what are we doing? Buying when the green leprechaun crosses the blue frog? Like, I don't get it. Like, what is this? Like let's draw stars on it. Like, sometimes it's just too much.
No, definitely. So like here we have like 3 key principles really: the price action, a trend line, and the Bollinger Band. And just off those 3 key principles, you're identifying the trend, you're identifying an entry point, and you're identifying a target.
Yeah. So, and also, let's show this. If you get let me think of how to draw this.
I'm very curious to see when she
Okay.
actually shows chart examples. But I was sneaking suspicion that after watching this is going to be the conclusion of like, sure, is this a viable strategy potentially? But guarantee you it's not hyper efficient, or like optimized.
Let's say you got a candle that came saying candle. I don't know. I haven't seen a bar in forever, so don't mind my bars. But let's say you get a move that came like all the way down here. This is not.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
Okay.
this girl's like a why like. I don't know what kind of bar chart this is, so like, I don't even know why she's just drawing it in bars. She doesn't even know how to construct a bar chart.
It has to form on like an uptrend trend line. The second it comes like down, all the way down. If it stopped right here,
Yeah.
okay, I could say if I look at the chart, there would be a chance. Let's say it stopped right here, and maybe I could draw the trend line right here. It could still continue on that high, but the second it comes like down below here, it's all bets off.
Invalidated.
Yeah,
So then from here, obviously, you would class it as sort of a break of that trend potentially.
right.
And then the next, for that pattern to form again, you would need, I guess, some green candles and then do the same accordingly.
Right. So, and then if something came like this, this would be a downward one to me, even though we're near the bottom. So
So you would then identify
let's
from-
say this one was, just to make it simple. Let's say this was the low. It would be right here to here.
Yeah.
And take it down.
So then it'll be from there to there, and then we'll be looking at the same move to the downside.
Yeah.
And then in terms of how do you then use this to try and identify the bottom in that case? Because then, as you said, if you were going to get to the out of reality, you'd still look to hold to that point.
Right. So what I would say is like if I was playing this Lil Rizzy right here, okay, my exit for a sell would be this move. If we said like it was, I don't know, to here, that would be my exit for a sell. The distance from the trend line to the highest high candle, and then take what if that's $20.
Where does she stick her stop when she does this? Because like, is she putting it there, or there, or like some kind of fixed distance from here? The risk reward seems a bit off based on depending on where she puts it. If that's gonna be the TP.
Add it to the highest high, and that would be my exit for profit. Now my exit here for a loss would be if this trend line breaks. I might do it like below the low here, or I might just do it like with my only hesitation with doing it like real close, like right here, is a lot of times it will come test it and then just bounce. So I very much kind of like to wait for like an actual close.
Okay.
Like so if the next candle like closed below this trend line, I would get out and say, okay, this is probably breaking here.
Okay.
If it's just, drastically pulling a silver move like the other day, get out. And kind of also always apply a max loss to all of your trades, however many ticks or percentage or tenths of a percentage points you want to risk. Like you should always have like a max regardless in there too. But this is the basis of every chart. To me, when I see charts, this is all I see over and over. And if you focus on this, that concept of follow the trend, it becomes easier and you can actually kind of see it. Now, what usually happens is it doesn't just go up, down. It usually will kind of trade sideways. And so like, let's say the chart is going up. When it reaches kind of like a top out point, it usually kind of trades sideways. But what you will see in that when it's trading sideways is it's not forming any more little Rizzies. It's just kind of going sideways. So that's kind of your thought process of, oh, this uptrend, it might be over now. The next little Rizzy that forms might be down. I hope you don't mind that we name this after you.
That's okay. I'll take it. Yeah, that's fine. Continue my legacy somehow.
Okay.
Well, it's like also like depends on like the slope of the Bollinger Band, right?
Okay, so from here, what should we do?
Sure,
Should
so
we
she
go
touches
down
on that at
Yeah,
all.
follow the chart.
Okay, perfect. Futures traders, it's time to hear about a time to get parts.
On this is the 1929 crash.
Okay, got you.
And what you see right here, to me, this is a little Rizzy, right? This is 1929. So I'm going to draw a trend line like this. And if you measure from here, so let's say that's like 30. I'm going to pull out my calculator.
Oh, we have it here.
Oh, okay. See, I
Yeah,
don't
this is
know
why-
trading
this is
views.
why trading views better.
This is why we need you.
But we can measure from here to here.
Disclosure, I'm just learning trading
So it'll
view.
be like a 1300 thing.
Okay.
Then we measure another one from where would it be?
So then take
The low
take
here.
this distance to here.
Yeah, okay.
Do you get what I'm saying?
100%, yeah. It's this tool instead we'll use. 'cause
Teamwork makes the dream work.
That's it. So it wasn't,
So take this candle where the low is, and then like the trend line
yeah, my
above it.
bad, I was getting ahead of myself. Let's use this here.
Oh, do I not have it? Oh, I do.
They're on the struggle right now.
And so we have
Just drag it, man.
Same down. Which would be 116,
Come on.
169, which is right there. There we go.
Okay. So this is 1929, a monthly chart, S&P. Right here, I would consider this a little Rizzy. You form a trend line down, you measure the distance from the lowest low, which is right here, up to the trend line, which we brought down here, and you take that distance and you subtract it from the lowest low, and look what it gave you. It gave you the bottom of the crash. So what I would do is you could come in and just buy here, right? What I usually find is if you do it, you're usually a little early because when there's a big crash, it takes time to bottom. So one thing you could do is that, or you could wait until, these are again our Bollinger Bands. Another strategy I like to do is you wait until you get a candle that closes above reality, and you could do an entry here, like on this candle.
Yeah.
Dude, she's
so
trading
I
on the
find either one of those
monthly
are good.
using this? God damn. You're not going to be getting too many trades if that's how you're trading.
Entry points, but I mean, this is 1929 and it gave you the exact bottom. Pretty much, I mean, not exact, but pretty
It's
close.
very- yeah, very
So
close, yeah.
that's why I say it's really good for finding entries. Now, these are also other examples along the way of other ones forming. Like right here,
Yeah.
right here, right here, right here, right here. So when I say that they start giving you, they make it easy for you to see the trend is continuing. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not going to, even though in this crash, you probably could just take this trend line all the way down. This is not how I look at it. I look at it very much as an individual pattern with the individual trend line. So this would be one. On this particular little Rizzy, the low is on the first candle. I would measure here to here, and you will find it brings you down here. Now I have another one. I would draw a trend line from like here to here. And my next move down is going to be the same thing. Measure the distance from here to the low, and it's going to bring you down. And it continues. I would consider this one. I would consider this one. In this instance, we had a lot. And let's say you tried to do it here, and it failed. And for me, the trend is broken there. Now, a lot of people would just do one trend line all the way down, which you can do, but this gives you like the exact moves down in a way to measure it when you kind of break them up.
But in terms of the only question I can think the audience having is in regards to, and it's slightly different because we're on a monthly chart, so maybe we can sort of clear this as we go to more recent charts.
Okay.
But in regards to the trend line, so as of right now, it's much, the thing that they'll probably be thinking is it's easier to do this on charts that I've already sort of presented all the candles to be able to do it, right? So in this case, this one here, let's say, drawing the trend line is more simple because we can see where the next higher low is or the next candle that then sends us lower. But then in real time, how would we be able to
So I
trust
would
picking
say,
this?
like this next trend line, right? I wouldn't have drawn it until like you have this candle.
Okay,
And you're right. I may not have seen it at that point. I may have not realized it until 3 candles down,
Okay.
and maybe I missed that one.
Okay,
So it is something you have to learn and practice in real time. And when we go over the current,
There's no way
Bitcoin
she trades
chart,
in the
one of my
monthly,
favorite charts that I
right?
think
Like, there's no way.
is like a really good buying opportunity for the future. Those are not completed, right? Those are real-time
so
charts.
that's-
So I'll kind of show you when I don't have the data, like what I look for
Gotcha,
and
yeah,
how
perfect,
I
yeah.
come up with those conclusions. So let's go to the .com crash. Let me go. Let's look at a week. Oops. Let's do a weekly. Oh, I kind of had these drawn. Okay. This is 2000, the NASDAQ. This is a weekly chart. This, to me, is one big, in my mind, this is one big little Rizzy. I would draw the trend line like this. And the distance, or I would measure the distance from here to the trend line, take that, and it will bring you, it'll be around down here. And you can see in the .com crash, this would have been an early buy. But it's still, if you're trying to
Yeah,
do
but it's not,
a long,
though.
if you're looking, if it's a market crash and you're looking
Like in both examples, it wasn't the low.
for a long-term entry point, it's a good,
Like
it's a good,
that's not be she first she says it and she's like, oh well, I guess it's a bit early. Okay, so does it find the low or is it not? Because it's the first thing you said.
basis for where you should enter. And the other thing too is like you really want to focus if you're trying to gauge if there is a crash, you really want to gauge the fundamentals and ask yourself,
Like, yeah, so obviously, like if you think about it, like logically, this is essentially like it's not exactly 100% extension of the impulse, but like more or less is like what's just like what from here to here would be like, I don't know, 70 to 80% retrace. So it's like an 80% extension from the low. So obviously you're going to be like in a value area at that point, but like not guaranteed to find the low by any means.
Is GDP declining, is unemployment rising? You want to look at those types of things also.
But no, you're right. So especially on this sort of bigger picture way of trading, the fundamental side of things are going to be really helpful and necessary to a degree, no doubt.
And these are again, I'm just going to draw these just so you get in the habit of seeing it, because in my brain they repeat over and over. I would consider this one.
Is this why you were saying on the Words of Wisdom episode, like you cannot match or replace the time on the chart?
Yeah, because the more you do this, the more that you'll start to see them. Like you could consider this one, and you could say, okay, this is still telling me it could fall. It did kind of bounce above, but this is how I gauge the direction of the price movement.
Are there other elements when it comes to, so say for example here, we're on the weekly time frame, we've identified the trend line, we've identified where we're positioned, our direction, but then when it comes to sort of trying to enter and manage the trade, let's take this as an example here, would you then be basing it, this is weekly, would you go like daily, look at what's going on there to help them back up your thesis and find that entry point?
Yeah, and you'll see more and more of these repeating in every time frame and every chart. So you can definitely zoom in, but I do find that again. So like up here, this is towards the top of the Bollinger Band. They still continued down like this one right here is towards the lower band down here. But it did kind of consolidate, go sideways, and then it made another move down. If you go to 08, let's see, past it. Okay, wait, how do we do this?
Would you say that when it comes to the news side of things, especially if we're at highs, do you sometimes have to kind of think counter to what the news is saying, for example? So what example can I give? Like the dollar, I guess, this last week, 2 weeks, everyone's talking about the dollar's died and it's just dying off and dying off, dying off. Does that, and it has died off, but does that then, when it comes to fundamentals and looking from this perspective, because it's at like record lows already, is it almost to a degree, sometimes you got to think the opposite? Okay, we probably priced in this negativity at this point. This could be where we start.
Trading the news is stupid. That's what that is.
And I say when mainstream
you're a
news
noob
reporting
if
it,
you're
like
doing
when it
that.
is headline news on CNN, it's priced in. Whatever it is, it's priced in. Now, if it's on CNBC or like Bloomberg or MarketWatch, it might not be priced in yet. But
Not true.
If we wake up Monday and it is headline news about a silver crash on CNN, MSNBC, like Fox News, like the regular news stations, not like the business.
The finance ones, yeah.
Finance ones, same shit.
Headline news, it's over. That's literally what I look for. I look for that, or I look for my friends calling me who don't normally trade, who tell me about it. So if I get calls Monday about silver from people who don't trade, I'll be like, it's probably over. But I mean, those are the things that I look for. And we do have to remember the market is always pricing everything in advance.
Yeah.
It's way ahead. As much as we like to think that we can get in before we can't. But when it hits the mainstream news, that's always my cue.
Yeah.
Like, it's over.
I've had a lot of people. I know a lot of people who have been trying to ask me about silver more recently. People who don't trade. So that was always my indication that we were going to see something as well.
This is NDX, so the NASDAQ. This is the 2008 crash. And if you measure the distance from here to here.
Yep. So we measure from here to here. So that gives us 41.
And so that could be an entry point for a long position. Again, it's not exact. This is an example down here where
The other thing about this is like, is she not trading futures contracts? Like these are pretty like, how is she entering this? Like, was she You know, like how is she structuring her trades and like defining her risk with like, this much movement to go on the price action still? I'm very curious to see the actual examples of trades.
Started trading sideways.
Yeah.
And you can tell the trend started changing. So if you were coming in 08 and you're trying to identify the bottom, you got an inheritance, you came up on some money, and you want to enter the market, right? This would give you a good position to enter. And you could do it here, or you could wait until you get a candle breaking the middle Bollinger Band. And you can see it went on from here. And again, now we're in an uptrend. To me, I'm just going to go through and draw them so you can see how, in my brain, I look at these and I try to pick the direction of the trend. So this, to me, this would be one. The high would actually probably be on this candle, and I would measure that distance. It did go on above that, right? So from here to here, I would consider this one. And if you measure the high to here, you can see it continued up.
And then from there we continue. Let me sort this. What is it? That one.
A little odd, we'll say that. This is a little odd so far, but
This would be a little risky to me. This would be one. This one I probably might not have, because this low came down pretty far.
You adjust.
But it just keeps, I break it down into this repeating pattern over and over and over. And when I get a moment when it starts to trade sideways like this, I kind of go, maybe it's breaking. Let's go into, let's do 2018. In 2018, we had, there was a big drop in 2018. And it's kind of one little Rizzy that kind of gave you the, is this how you're doing it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm learning Trading View, guys.
You usually use Think and Swim. You said.
I use Thinkorswim, so I feel like I'm kind of writing with my left hand and I'm right-handed, but
It's okay.
we get the point. And it is like a perfect,
Pretty much just under. Yeah.
yeah, it's close. Same thing going up. They continue to form. Now let's go into 2020, the COVID crash. Where are we? 2022. To me, this is your, if you are an investor in the market and you see one of these patterns starting to form, and you know there's some fundamental going on, like, you know, COVID, we all knew it was spreading, and you see this huge drop followed by a bounce, you're seeing maybe you could draw the trend line and it's starting to fail. That's kind of your time that maybe you are wanting to realize it's probably going to continue down. And you can see this continued to drop down. I would consider this another one from here to here. I would consider this one from here to here. I would consider this one. I would consider this one. And again,
that this shit.
and now you get them in reverse. Now you're getting them from here to here. So it's going to move the distance from here to this trend line, and that's going to be your next move up. And again, that's how I'm gauging the trend. If we go into, let's go do April.
Let's take a break for a minute there, guys, because I want to tell you about how it is, but just in the end.
And you measure the distance, it came pretty close to giving you the bottom down here too. Maybe you're going to enter right around here. And then you got a huge one form right here.
So when you get down there, one, you're taking your profits from any shorts. But then when you get to that level, based on, you see the overall correction, probably some fundamentals as well as them being out of reality on that lower Bollinger Band. Do you start looking at buying and trying to time like the absolute bottom, or you want to wait for confirmation for you?
So if you look at, like in this instance, this little Rizzy brought us down to right about here. We also had a fib retracement here for the AI bull market that started in 2022. Somewhere around here where this little Rizzy bottomed was also a 50% Fibonacci retracement from the whole AI bull run. So when that happened, I was like, oh, it's over. It's going to reverse. And that's why I had posted an X. I was like, the bottom's in. That was it. Because it was just too much support. It was too powerful. We dropped too fast, too hard. And it just seemed like it was over. You could come in and say, hey, this could have been one, right? And this would be a time where if you consider this one, it did not work. It was invalidated. So what you would want to watch for is it starting to form one in the inverse direction to do an uptrend higher. And again, I'm going to show you two charts in real time that are forming them and which direction I think they're going to go.
Definitely.
But it's over and over the same concept. And it's how I gauge the trend over and over. Like you could say this is one. And then
This is why it really comes down to people putting in the chart time and the work, because based on your perception, you might go shorter one based on a couple of candles coming down, or you might feel, better doing sort of the longer period, the whole sort of cycle of that. And that's where, putting in that chart time over time, you'll develop the eye that you see for identifying the highs and lows based on what you see. And that's going to be so important, right? Because regardless, unless you see it for yourself and you feel that confidence to a degree in terms of like what you're seeing, that's the only way you're going to be able to execute properly.
Yeah. Yes. Nothing. There's no YouTube video. There's nothing that anyone can teach you that will beat just the time you invest staring at the charts and just kind of like learning how they breathe. Okay.
Interesting.
This is Bitcoin. This is a current chart. Now, what I would say is I would either do it like this or let's say like that. Okay. I would say this is one that's forming. So if we measure the distance, so that's
6,100?
61. So, no, 30,000, right?
Yeah, dollars, yeah. 30,000.
Okay, 30,000. So the low here is like right around here. If this continues to form, I mean, Bitcoin's coming down. Let's see. We're saying 111, let's say, to, let's just say 80. It's going to, so if this continues to form, it's going to drop it. It's going to drop to the 50s.
So that's the direct bottom, and that is the high, 30,300, and then we do it again. So around the 50,000.
So there you go. That is one in real time that has not completed. And if it continues that pattern, that's where it's going, 50,000, which is a long way off.
There's a long way off. It'll scare a lot of people, no doubt, especially a lot of the crypto scene. So in this case, then, you mark it out, and let's say if you wanted to execute on this, would you then be going lower time frames in order to execute and enter?
No, if I wanted to play this actual move, I would just short it until here. Now, mind you, shorting that many points on a long-term chart is not in my trading strategy, but we'll go into some like shorter time frames and show you like times that you could do it. So if we're looking at Bitcoin, I'm bearish. I see a little busy. It looks like it's going to come under 60,000.
Like this whole video so far is just a waste of time, right? Like, yes, okay, we understood in the first 5-minute example of how she's doing the measured move, but like in terms of actually entering the trade, structuring the trade, blah blah blah, is not discussed a single time yet. Like, what is the point of sitting here and saying this and this is the expected move if you're not gonna do any actionable trade on it?
Go to a monthly chart.
Hopefully they do that, or else there's literally just a fucking waste of an hour.
I'm sorry, don't play the messenger.
I don't mind. I'm buying Bitcoin.
And then let's go to. Ooh, that's not right. What did I? On Thursday. So this is the actual play I posted in live time on X that you could go back and reference. When it got like down here, I had said that I thought it was going to reverse, and part of the reason I saw that is I kind of saw this. I saw this one kind of form here, or maybe I could have drawn it like that. And it was way the market, the Nasdaq was down over 2% at that point, and you have to kind of say to yourself, this is probably the low. The market doesn't often statistically fall 3%, so we're probably going to get a bounce here. And we had like this little Rizzy completed. We still dropped the distance from here to here. We came down here. Then we had a little sideways trade, and we formed one going up. And so I used these, and I had gauged that. At some point down here, I kind of saw this forming, and I was saying, hey, you know what? The next stop's going to be around 25,900. And we ended up hitting 25,900. And that's how I was able to make that call. Again, I saw this last little Rizzy form. I saw how far it dropped. I knew
Did she trade it? Did she actually trade it? Like,
it didn't happen that much. We're at the lower end of the Bollinger Band.
No one gives a fuck if you're calling shit, not actually trading it.
And I was able to gauge that it was probably going to run to about 25,900 on a bounce. And the other thing I did was I kind of took this the bottom of this little Rizzy, and I did, this is a separate something. I drew this before I had any of these candles. I kind of drew out a trend line from these, and I asked myself, okay, if we're going to bounce, it made sense to me that it would probably try to come up and hit this, which was right around 25,900, and which was what I was thinking at the time. But you can see how the trend changes. Do you have any questions?
No, I can.
I have a lot of questions, to be honest. I have a lot of questions.
Here to there, and that would give you 147, and then from down here to 147 would be roughly just there. And there you have. Oh, I used the wrong one, which is fine. But you saw, fades out very low, and that's why it's so important to always have context. I think a lot of people assume, oh, okay, here are the rules, and that's it. When in reality, it's like aligning your rules, because you could have your rules present itself, but then you're in a poor position in the market. You're just ticking boxes.
Yes.
Right?
And so I would say to traders, because I know everyone has their own trading strategy, but we all need to identify trends when they're in place, when they're changing, when they're turning. It's just something they can add to what they're already doing to kind of see if it aligns to the trade they're going to play.
Yeah.
You know, if they're coming in here and you're wanting to go short, if you're coming in right here and you're wanting to go short, but this little Rizzy already bottomed out, you're getting close to being out of reality on the Bollinger Band. This is not a good time to go short.
Yeah.
This is.
I mean, anyone could have told you that. Who the fuck is shorting down here for this?
A bounce to go long. And I mean,
Oh my
you can see how the
gosh.
price usually trades within the bands. But again, for Bitcoin,
Who the fuck is doing that?
I don't see. I see it going down towards. Did we do this right? Is this?
That's the market cap.
Hold on. There we go. Is that? No, I'm clicking on the wrong one. Here we go. I see it going down under 60,000 near 50,000. And it looks to me as in that's one that would complete. So like I would not be going long Bitcoin right now.
Let's take a break for a minute there, guys, because I want to tell you about our incredible sponsor,
Also, like incredibly like objective statement to say stuff like that. Like go along on what time frame, right?
TradeZeller. Make an adding check that out. Go Trader.
Play
Interesting.
in real time. Okay. Now for my long play in real time, it's HHH Howard Hughes.
Interesting.
This is my
Is this a airline?
no. It's a holding company. So we all know Warren Buffett stepping away, has stepped away from Berkshire. Howard Hughes Holdings, in my belief, and from what they're trying to do, they're trying to step in to be the next Berkshire. Now they were initially like a real estate company, but they've got a $1 billion investment and they have been restructured and they're now turning into like a holdings company. And this is all stuff that's currently happening like the past year. A big part of this is combining the chart with the fundamentals, right? So we have Howard Hughes Holdings being restructured, and it's not just going to primarily be a real estate company anymore. They're going to actually invest and become the primary stakeholder in other businesses, and they're going to have an insurance-driven model also, which is what Warren Buffett did through Berkshire. So they're trying to literally copy his steps, and I think this is what's going to take over as the next Berkshire Hathaway in our generation. And if you invested in Berkshire Hathaway in the beginning, you would have made like 5 million%. Obviously, that was like the 1960s or something, but I think the chart combined with the shift in the company and the fundamentals, it makes sense to me. Now, what I see when I look at this is I see one that formed right here that has not finished yet. This is sort of a lower one. So if you measure the distance from here to here, okay, Riz, come on. Add the next one. I'll figure it out one day. That's how to use TradingView.
So good. 66 will put us up here somewhere.
So it's almost or it is probably a double if this finishes. Let's see.
It'll be just under that, but yeah.
So it's currently around 81.
Over
And if,
double, yeah.
if this finishes, it's going up towards 175. And I see it finishing. And when you combine this little Rizzy and you see how far it's going to go for this one to finish, this is a monthly chart on Howard Hughes Holdings. You combine it with the fundamentals, you see this, you also like realize like a lot of these people that are going to be taking, I don't want to say they're going to take their money out of Berkshire, but they're going to be looking for the next one. They may find their eyes on this and they may start investing. And then they also have that $1 billion that they're going out there to invest in other companies. They'll basically be like they'll use like their cash flow from the real estate investments and the new money that got invested. They'll use that to buy these other businesses. They actually become like primary stakeholders. It's not like a hedge fund when they come in and buy and they take like a minority stake of companies. Like they're going to run these companies. And that's what Warren Buffett did. Dairy Queen. So it all makes sense because the whole business model for the company is changing and the structure and the new investments and then Warren Buffett stepping away, Howard Hughes Holding possibly coming in to take over its place. It makes sense why you could get this move up so high that it's basically more than a double from here. And I think it could happen fast. I really do. So this is my favorite bullish chart right now that I can find. And again, I'm showing you one in like real time, how I would view it and how I would price it out.
So in terms of them, this one in particular might be
What?
something which you might
Of
invest in
all the charts in the fucking planet, this was the most bullish. I don't know about that. I do not know about that. Like, just look at some of this shit, man. Like, all these charts had way crazier setups. We just go on and on and on, right? She's talking about that? What was it called? Howard Hughes? I don't know about that. very odd, right? Clearly, she's not done a whole lot of swing trading or position trading.
For
Yes.
example, if it was a trade,
Mhm.
like the 5-minute chart we were looking at on the Nasdaq, how would you go about sort of entering that trade, or how would you go about looking at that?
Let me pull it. Let's see how this one looks on a 5-minute.
Like, can it
So,
go? Sure,
right
of
here
course,
is
but like, it's not
the
even
confirmation,
above the
right? You actually have
200 day
two
moving
right here.
average from what we just saw.
You
The
have this one.
clearly
This
lagging
is the
quite
hourly
hard
chart,
still.
which would push you, up
Above the
here.
previous high, yeah.
Oops.
But it depends, right?
Or
Depends what our
above-
definition of bullish is. Like, maybe she has like a 20-year time horizon, in which case, okay. I suppose we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. I'm not particularly informed on this, but in terms of like expecting like a ridiculous move relatively soon, I don't know.
Also argue, you have this one.
Not showing much
That's the thing down
strength.
here. So what I would do, like in this scenario, if something like this comes up, I would wait for one of these to break and I might enter. So if this starts trading sideways
Yeah.
right here and goes up, that would tell me this little Risley is probably the one in play.
Mhm.
If this continues to go down and break this and come down lower than this trend line, like maybe down here, I'd be like, okay, this one is probably the one in play.
So where do you like place stops in that scenario? Is it above the trend line high or just above the most recent high?
So in this case, let's say I didn't care about this other one that could be forming and I wanted to just play this one long. I think it's going to continue and I wanted to play this one long.
Yeah.
I would probably put a stop. Okay, let's say we're saying like this. We're thinking this is one that's forming, so we're thinking it's going to come down. I would probably place a stop like right above the high of this candle, like right here.
Okay.
Like maybe I don't exactly like to use the exact high of the candle,
Get some-
but I do it like right here
Mhm.
in that trend line broke. And I would play it for this to complete down here. Now, you do want to always make sure that wherever you're putting your stop, that the distance from where the price is at to where your stop is at, I believe should be less than or equal to the profit you would take if it dropped in this pattern completed. I would never want to put my stop so it would be higher than whatever the profit I could make. And that's kind of like personal preference.
Of course. Yeah.
If people want to do like
Do you have
2
like
to
a
1,
minimum
1 to 1.
threshold that you look for?
No, I wouldn't say like I have like a minimum threshold, but I would say I prefer not to play the ones down here
Yeah.
after we've had this move.
Mm.
I prefer for there to be like an uptrend and try to come in and play like this one.
Gotcha.
So like the first one after an uptrend, the second one after an uptrend. Probably when these start forming down here, I probably wouldn't have taken them. But like, so this one would not be one of my favorites to take
'Cause of the
because it's
position,
already
yeah.
down so far.
So in this case, you might have taken, say, from here to
Yeah,
here.
that would have been one that
Would it be a
interest
case
me.
where, in terms of entry-wise, you'd want this to close, and when you see this,
Yeah, the thing
you
about
close
this is
below?
like, in terms of the Bollinger Bands, right? Like the whole point that in the first like whatever she was talking about using like the extension from the Bollinger Band to then do this when it's like printing from the outside. Most examples so far are just not using the Bollinger Band at all. If anything, she only referenced the middle point. So like a bit odd.
below the sort of mid-range of the Bollinger, alongside where you're positioned in the market, you'd enter. So we can actually put on the short tool here. So say you enter, and then in this case, your stop loss probably be not directly on the high, just slightly above,
Right.
and then measuring low to high here.
Yes.
This would probably put us at, well, that would put us here, which would be 3. So maybe something roughly, without marking on, it would be something like that. Would
Right.
that be kind of what you're going for?
Yes.
And then would it be similar on the next one? So if we just mark
Also,
out the
like,
monthly-
what is the logic for this trend line to exist? Let's just imagine this chart was printing right now, and anything to the right of this point does not exist. Like, how can she just say this is a trend line? What if the next candle printed green came up even higher? So, like, unless she was taking like a bearish retest of this Bollinger Band center point and got the close below it as her confirmation to get in, like this is like completely illogical, right? Like, as this chart was printing, this wouldn't have been confirmed at all. So this is a bit weird, right? Is it just me or is it just a bit fucking weird? A
case where
little
it's like here,
strange.
well, not there, sorry.
See the little
getting it,
Rizzies.
yeah.
You get it.
It's in my DNA now. That's it.
Literally.
To high down to low, and then same thing. So maybe with this one, it might be slightly different because of where the candle's closed, right? It might close down here. So maybe you might be getting in a bit of a lesser.
Yeah, like
entry point
that
than
one
it
that makes more. Like if we're gonna do it that way, like suppose that this sequence just happened and then it came up here, got the wick, came under, and then like it closed below this candle's open. We got another way to do the confirmation. Lots of ways to do it, but to take it just off the green candle print is like makes no sense.
precise as you may like it, but
Right.
regardless. But the low to high in this case is still pretty substantial. Let's mark it out for accuracy. So below to that.
And you're
highest
not
point.
going to catch them all.
Of
But
course,
the
yeah.
more that you try to do this and the more time you spend staring at the charts, the better you get at it and the easier they are to catch.
So 515 would be roughly there, which would put us like something like this, right?
Yes.
So then there'll still be an over 2 to 1 in that
Yes.
instance, yeah. So it really comes down to where we're positioned in the market.
Yes.
So you don't, regardless of the rules, if we're at a low point, a bit more reluctant to sell at that point, right?
Mhm.
Rather prefer a buy to start form. Same with, if we're at highs, that's not really we want to be buying, regardless of whether they're presenting there. We want to be selling. So is that where does an element for you, as you mentioned, it's quite fractal, this and how it sets up, like it doesn't matter about the time frame. So say if you identified on the daily a bullish, little Rizzy, it's a bit weird if I say, right? But a bullish one, but then price is already at a high on that day. You might be waiting sort of to align with price coming towards the low of that daily pattern,
Mhm.
but it presents a bullish on the lower time frame for you to then look to
Yes.
execute. Yeah.
Yes.
So
And
do you layer the time frames in a way if you are short term versus longer term?
yes. And one of the things that you'll also start noticing is, oh, we're on 5 minutes. Okay, I'm probably going to drop it down to a 1 minute to show you because I've stared at these for so long. To anyone else, this might just look like sideways candles, but to me, if I lower the time frame, I'm going to see a little Rizzy more clearly. If I lower this time frame, even though this is like sideways candles, I'm going to see that that was probably one forming. And so this is like, and what time are we at? So we remember Friday,
7:05.
19:05.
Does the time of day at all impact your decision to trade, or any time of day?
I hate the open.
Really?
I hate it. Do you trade the open?
I don't know.
Wait, let me say this. I hate the New York session open.
Mhm.
I like the London open. I like all the other opens. And
It's not New York, it's too volatile.
I stay out of
Mhm.
I stay out of New York's open. But there's seasonality within the day, and I would highly suggest everyone study it. It will really blow your mind. There's certain hours of the day that are net negative historically over hundreds of years. Well, not 100, let's say like 50 years, because the studies I've seen, most of them have gone back about 50 years. And one of the things you will find is that like the New York session is usually net negative, and the rest of the time is net positive, which is kind of interesting. There was actually a study done in 08, and it said during the 08 crash, if you had just like bought the New York open and sold the New York close, like throughout the whole crash down, I don't know exactly, but it was something like you lost like 45% or something. If you had done the reverse and you had actually bought the close of the New York session and then held overnight and sold the open, you were net positive and you made like 8% even during 2008
That is
crash.
interesting, yeah.
So like I would highly suggest everyone study seasonality. It's very interesting.
Yeah, but
So
like
that stuff
there's a
really
lot of
does
nuance
matter.
to that.
So what that would tell me is
That
that
kind of arbitrage. Like Martin Shkreli made a pretty good video discussing this. It's how she's describing it is not that accurate to how it actually functions, but
like statistically, there's always a bias towards going short during the New York session.
Yeah.
Except towards the end of the day, it tends to shift.
Mhm.
There is usually like a run towards the end of the day. So I think this is what we were just looking at the 5 minute chart, and you can kind of see when you zoomed in from the 5 minute to the 1 minute, it was a little bit more easy to see.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things. If you're trying to learn these, when you see something like this,
Yeah.
and you're like, hey, this might be it, zoom in, and you might see it more clearly on a lower time frame. Whereas on here, it just looks kind of like it's trading sideways, and you'll eventually learn them, and it's just a really helpful way to understand the trend.
No, definitely. I think that's definitely goes back to your point from the original podcast, is spending that time dedicated to the charts. Because me, I remember going back to when I first started learning charts, and I had just done an extensive 2-day course with people, like learning all these concepts. But as soon as I was by myself, it all felt like gibberish. Like I couldn't see anything. Like what was I looking at? And only through then repetition do you slowly start to build your confidence. And only at this stage, really over the last couple of years, I was spending a lot of time on lower time frames. So then to your point, looking at something like this, you can sort of see that without even going lower, we can sort to see the structure. So if I was to just look at it and try and break it down, it would be a case where we know 1 minute wise, these are all highs and lows that are taking place. And then that breaks. So we know on a 1 minute already that there's a break of structure that's taking place there. The trend changed on that lower time frame, whether it stays there or not. We can already have that understanding. But for a new person, they won't probably know that until they do, as you said, the repetitions and get that chart time in to really train the eyes to see the market in that way. But back to your point for the whole concept and strategy we've gone through today, it's really taking all of these concepts you could learn and sort of trickling it down to 3 key components to focus on. And the amazing thing about it really is that it's fractal as well. So it's not a case where, hey, this only works on a big macro perspective. You can shrink this all the way down. But to your point as well, the nuances of practice, right? And you're not going to see the same thing as everyone else. You've really got to decipher and pick up on the traits and the patterns and the reoccurring themes that you notice through doing your backtest or doing your live charting or your data collection.
Yeah.
Right?
I get a lot of messages from people that tell me they have a problem with selling too early. Like they can't let winners ride, I would say if you have some strategy that you follow and you're struggling with trying to let your winners ride, you might want to add this to what you're already doing, because it might give you more confidence to let some of your winners ride. If you see, hey, this little Rizzy formed, it's in my favor, it's going to go up another 50 ticks or something, this might be what gives you the confidence to stay in it and let it ride, because most of our money is coming from the ones that we, in my eyes, again, all the traders will contradict themselves. In my eyes, the ones that I let run are the ones that end up making all my money. So learning how
Well, I
to
mean,
let winners run
obviously,
is a
like
really
that's.
important
I don't think anyone's gonna dispute that. I don't know any trader who would really dispute that, right?
skill. And so this might give you that extra confidence you need if you see this aligns with it, to just let it go until this is done, and then you might get out and take your profit.
Definitely. And aside from what we talked about, just to finish off, in regards to the chart time and that sort of preparation and dedication to doing so and training the eyes, is there anything when it comes to implementing this that stands out to you as something that people should be aware of, or maybe a particular struggle point that they should be aware of then when they're trying to implement or look at this?
I would say before you just walk out and start trying to do it, spend time practicing it, because you're going to make a lot of mistakes in the beginning. I'm still wrong a lot to this day with trying to identify them in real time. So practice drawing them historically and identifying them historically so you can grasp the concept, but then also spend a lot of time doing them in real time where they're not complete yet, so you can start to learn things you're missing, when you're coming in too early, when you're right, when you're wrong, and you'll just slowly get better at perfecting it. Now, I'm telling you, like, the longer time frames, it's a lot easier to do. That's why I say I love this strategy for trying to find the bottom of stock market crash. If you want to enter, take a big position, or you just want to like over leverage your portfolio, those would be the moments. And I think because if you're doing it on a 5-minute charts, the data's coming in fast, you have to make quick decisions. So I think sometimes learning it on the longer time frames can be easier because you can spend more time analyzing it, and you can add other things to it also, and get all of your fib retracements in there, and you can look at the fundamentals in the economy and see if they kind of align. Whereas when you're on the 5-minute charts, you don't have the time to do all that, and it's really won't be as helpful.
This video,
so just
I don't know.
practice. Don't just jump in and swim and start doing it and think you have it. Like, take time practicing. And like I said in Words of Wisdom, the longer you stare at charts, they will eventually start to speak to you, and you will get it, and you will start to see it. So just take your time before you start putting money behind it.
Definitely. I love that. Well, I will apologize in advance for all the messages you'll probably get off the back of this episode.
I'll have a lot of questions. Also, don't like how they didn't like discuss any actual trade examples, right? Because like, it's a very weird. Harris Kamal, hi Marcos, hello Harris. Hello Harris. Why is there some like Chinese lettering? What the fuck is that? Odd. What was it saying? Oh yeah, the video. Which is a very weird way to trade. I'm curious if that's like, I would be curious to see how she actually structures trades, and if that's the only strategy she uses for trading. If so, that's quite odd. Yeah, if I had to put like a tier list of trading strategies, that one's not going very high, I'll say that. Interesting nonetheless, I suppose, right? I guess it was somewhat unique. We'll give her that. We'll give her that. Harris Kamal. What's going on here? What's going on with this stuff? Also, what's going on this week? Close this. Bond auctions, FOMC meeting minutes. And what about the week after? CPI, oh yeah. We really looked at this, right? CPI, PPI plus the testimony. Okay. Pretty sad right now, Mexico lost. I mean, I was looking, I didn't watch the game, but I was looking at the probabilities of who's expected to win. They were pretty low, weren't they? Weren't they like 3% chance to win or something? Oh, so are you Mexican? 3-2. Damn. Oh, it was in Mexico City too. Damn. Damn. I'm not Mexican. They were just my pick. Pick to win the whole thing. Yum. I mean, if you bet on it, that would have been a crazy odds if you had won, I suppose. It was 2-0 at one point. England up. Yeah, I've been watching games here and there. Not too much though. Probably should, right? But it's probably time to hop on the Spain bandwagon. Time to hop on the Spain bandwagon. France has such a high probability to win. Holy fuck. Yeah, the Spain Portugal game should be great. Yeah, it's tomorrow, right? I think it's at 3 o'clock. Probably we'll be watching that. Yeah, tomorrow at 3 p.m. Damn. I'm curious where the final is going to be played. Like, what location is it? New Jersey, New York, New Jersey Stadium. I was gonna say, I don't think there's any more games left in Toronto, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, all official game World Cup matches in Toronto have concluded. Damn. France wins finals. In my opinion, their team is just too stacked. I mean, apparently. I honestly, I've been. I don't really watch any sports. So, in terms of like being able to recognize like who the best players are, etc., I have no clue. And I've never, and like the thing is, like, there's been periods in my life where like, yeah, I watched like hockey or basketball. But even in those sports, I'm not even like up to date at this point. It's cool though. I don't know. Like the whole time I was in Toronto, it made it really fun, right? To go out and see all these people out watching this stuff. It's like a nice event to bring people together, I found. Like, where did I go watch one game? Or was it? I think it was like near Harbor Park, right? Or maybe it was Bayfront Park. Let me just go look up what I texted this girl. Birkin. Yeah, Firkin on Harbor. No, that's not it. No, but regardless, went to go watch the game there. Crazy shit ton of people. Shit ton of people. Shit ton of people. World Cup happens every 4 years, so might as well enjoy it while it lasts. Yeah, but like so does the Olympics, right? But it's like, it's not like the Olympics. The energy for this is like way different. Which is pretty sick. I don't watch regular seasons much either. Yeah. No time. I don't know. I've never been like I like sports, don't get me wrong. But in terms of just sitting there watching them for like hours on end every single week, I don't got time for that. I don't know. I'm just weird, I guess. Or maybe we're weird. Like for instance, the other day, one of the days I was back at home, I hung out with some like old friends, and like they were there with a bunch of people that like they're friends with. I don't really know. Like, and the whole time, all they were talking about was like sports and whatnot. I'm like, I was just so mentally checked out. I'm like, man, this is so fucking boring. Like, is this what you guys do all the time? I can't relate. Okay. Did you hear about the USA Reddit card revision controversy today? Like on a very surface level, like, so I heard that, or I read that whatever, apparently some player in the USA got a red card and then they like contacted like the FIFA or whatever and got it reversed, something along those lines. The thing is, I don't know what the red card was for. I don't know if it was like a justified reversal, etc. I have no context but anything other than like the surface level story. I guess we can look it up a little bit. USA red card. The card came after replay review showed him inadvertently stepping on the back of the leg of Bosnia, blah, blah, blah. Is there a video of this? Red card. Is there no video of this?
Everyone is talking about. After scoring for the USA, he made this dangerous challenge.
Hold on, I gotta watch that again.
For the USA, he made this dangerous challenge. Everyone is talking about. After scoring for the USA, he made this dangerous challenge. The referee checked VAR, then came back and showed him a straight red card. Did he discard?
Oh, I gotta see more than that, because that seems like
the Balogun red card everyone is talking about. After scoring, this is the Balogun red card everyone is talking about. After
I don't. It just seems like he was going for the ball, then landed on the guy's leg, right? It doesn't seem like he was trying to like break his ankle or something. At least from what I'm seeing here. Maybe it was like a different angle. I would be fine with appeal and revision to proper channels, but ridiculous when the people use blah blah blah. I can't even read right now. Yeah. Yeah, I guess. I'm not sure what the typical procedure for that is. I mean, it is also like... I'd imagine other presidents would do the same thing of other countries, because there's like a time component to it, right? Like they play tomorrow, so you can't just kind of like sit there and, oh, let's just submit this whatever and wait until they review it Lord knows when. I don't know though. I don't know enough about like how this like procedure works in the first place. Maybe it is a quick like thing anyways. And also, like, is this guy like their best player or something? Like, who is this guy? I guess would be my other question. I could imagine if, like, I don't know, Messi, something similar happened to Messi. I'm sure like that country's president would be doing the same shit. It didn't seem that bad to me though. That did not seem that bad, at least from the two angles I saw. Oh, interesting. He is arguably the best and most important attacking player for the United States team. Interesting. Oh, interesting. According to this, you're not even allowed to. Multiple FIFA officials told The Athletic after the game that a team is not able to appeal against a red card or the subsequent suspension. So I guess that there is no channels to go through. Interesting. Interesting. A bit odd that they don't have like a review process for that kind of shit. But anyways, let's start wrapping this up. I'm tired. Gotta get ready for market open tomorrow. How long have we been on here anyways? Damn. It's ended up being quite a while. Yeah, I guess you never got around to doing this, right? I screenshot that for later. In terms of a juice box, though, I mean, we kind of covered everything at the start of the stream. We're kind of just gonna give a recap of that, I suppose. Potential longs. Unless anybody's got any questions, it should be relatively quick. What was the level we said? I think it was that point of control, right? We got rid of the fib. I think it was like here. Here was one, and then the other one was like it was like just like basically like this point of control. Let's just double check. 596 579. And then 6076. So that's like where most of the liquidations are at. Bit tricky. Bit tricky. Like these two. I don't think we want to be retracing this deep. To be honest, these lower levels. Also depends. Also depends. Like, do we end up cleaning the highs first or no? Like, if we like start to roll over from here and kind of do like this kind of thing, not nearly as bad. Just kind of like retest this kind of zone on the higher time frame. Yeah. But whatever, kind of the main thing we'll be kind of watching is like we do have an outside day and we are like starting to fail like at the high. Let me just center this a little bit. So a little rotation in play already. So I mean, this is pretty important to watch, right? Like, do we just kind of sweep this and go? We're not. And plus like the 6-3 to make a point of control. Just a little suspicious. Like if we're gonna come down here, we're probably gonna come get that, right? At least. If anything, I'd give it time, like let it bounce here, then like reclaim VWAP kind of thing, and then try to get in if it's gonna start to reverse from there. So we'll kind of just write some of these down. Clean, pour, low on the previous day rotation to Grade 2 NPOC. Yeah, kind of context important, a little risky here. We'll see. It depends how the data is looking, etc. I'm just not sure about this level, right? How's this stuff all looking? Yeah, it'd be a little suspicious. We start to come lower to these lower levels, like, and this thing starts to kind of start breaking the lows. Like even if it just to do something like this on like the higher time frame, I don't know if this is gonna like hold. Also, a world where you start to see rotation to this, and it doesn't matter what's happening over here. But like, what kind of leave these written down, right? Kind of say like lower liquidity levels. Liquidity. And like maybe they save it here, maybe like this like 886 NPOC, but like. Yeah, wouldn't be counting on that. A little tricky, right? Because they could work kind of an interesting spot here. At the end of the day, like we did like lose this whole value, retest lower. Now we're like bouncing right the golden pocket. Like pretty realistic world where we start to do like another leg down, which makes like all of these longs like a little suspicious. But whatever, if like we're coming down there and data's looking good, then take your shot, I suppose. Realistically, we've all been in the long from here, right? From the first stream we had back. At this point, you're chilling, right? And then you can just add back, right? You like suppose we put a bounce in any of these zones, start to reclaim VWAP, and you can start adding and walking your stop up. Not these are probably going to be your best bets. And in terms of chasing it from above, probably getting in on like the flipping of this zone, right, in the lower time frames. Kind of like getting it back up a VWAP and flipping the golden pocket. Like trying to get like something like this. Like somewhere in this region. Wherever your stop may be. Maybe you can have a wider stop if you want. But like ideally this thing starts going and these start going as well. They start like reclaiming the valley area low and start flipping these levels over here as well. Yeah, not the ideal entry though, right? At this point it's like a little riskier of an entry. We'll kind of just leave it on there. Flip. Lower time frame, golden pocket plus VWAP, and aim to hit our next higher time frame target. And yeah, the next two zones are this and this, right? This one and this. And for the shorts, really nothing new for the shorts, right? Kind of, we've already been had these levels planned out for quite some time. They've kind of been discussed in the Discord, and it's the same ones that we talked about like in the previous streams. So nothing has really changed in regards to the shorts. I guess the only other one would be like if you want to try and get in on the breakdown here, something like this, or even just like this kind of retrace. Like either or, but basically like a bearish retest of these value areas. We'll just say bearish retest of VWAP slash previous day value zones. Or even the golden pocket down here, right? For probably like another one, like this volume node that we were talking about. We like come back into it and then like retest this stuff. Probably like the next best bet for the leg lower. Like I end up getting something like wherever the mirror stop may be and aim for this like lower stuff. Something like that. Bearish retest of the value area high of the volume node below. But again, a little risky, right? These are potentially long areas of interest, so you'd be quite late from a move up here. Yeah. Anyways, I should do it right. The other thing about this too is like realistically, like you were in this thing, but from the single print grab. Like yeah, we had our zone here, but like if you're using the fib to get filled on this box, like it was like right at that 786 right? Like you would have got literally pixel perfect entry to top right now. So kind of missed the ideal entry. So those two will be your best bets if you're trying to chase it. Yeah, that should do it. That should do it. I feel like we're missing something. We're missing something. I get the damn thing. There we go. But we'll see. We'll see, right? Lots of different ideas. Kind of see how the RTH resumes tomorrow. How these things are looking when the market opens. Yeah. For now, all here is kind of clean this up. Get rid of this thing. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Get rid of that. Don't need this. Don't need that. Probably don't need this either. Oh, that thing I guess I'll mention is like, if we start to break these highs, like I'm probably just gonna leave like an order overnight to add to the long. Because at this point we have shaped from it multiple times, so I'm trying to get a little bit more juice out of it, especially if we're gonna come up to this level. So I'll leave a little order here, and then I'm just gonna stick to the plan of these lower levels. If we come down and we start to reclaim some stuff, I'll probably just add back. Like if anything, like constructive prints and the data's looking good. And other than that, yeah, we're chilling. We're out of here. Gonna do a quick chat shout out and get going. What we got in here? We got Big Teflon Dawn. I can't believe I had the video closed that whole time at the start. I was just sitting here yapping to a blank screen apparently. Shout out to Harris Kamal. And in terms of the stream tomorrow, gotta give this some thought. There's three options. Either A, I stream super early, like market open type thing. Then I have to get off at 11 because I'm getting a haircut. Or I stream when I come back from my haircut from like noon to 3 or so. Or like the nighttime thing. I haven't decided which one I'm gonna do yet, but it'll be one of those three. Most likely not the early morning, but yeah. We'll be back, right? We'll be back at some point. Until then, I'm out here. I'm so tired right now. My eyes are like bloodshot. Getting sleepy. Can't even think. Time to get some sleep. I'm out up here later. Later. Later.